And it looks like we are live. Welcome in, friends. How is everybody doing? Happy Wednesday, Hump Day. Yes, it is in fact Hump Day. Happy Hump Day to any and all who may or may not be watching. Look, just because you're not on my stream doesn't mean you don't deserve to have a happy Hump Day. I'm an equal opportunity humper. Wait, no. No. Hey, thank you for the follow, Madame Irma. Apologies for not having something on screen. I saw your follow come through. You are technically... Oh, there we go, down there. My alerts are not properly working yet. I have nobody to blame but myself on that. But anyway, welcome and thank you so much for the follow. Stream just started. What are we up to today? What we do here is tabletop RPGs, right? We talk about them, we deep dive into them, we nerd the fuck out about them in these afternoon streams. And so today's tabletop RPG of choice, which we actually have been going through all last week and all this week, and at this rate probably all next week as well, is Fabula Ultima. So I'm just going to go ahead and switch on over. Nope, wrong thing. Also wrong game, but that's coming. Hi. That's coming soon. Wrong button, not on purpose, but wait for that one. But no, we actually wanted to go. Oh, nope, wait, don't have the thing up. That's a problem. There we go. Let's, do we have the PDF? Oh, well, that's why we don't have the PDF open. No wonder OBS didn't grab it. So for Fabula Ultima, here we go. We're opening it now. There we go. There we go. I don't have the physical books yet. I will be getting them as soon as I get a chance. Anyway, before we start, before we dive in, for anybody on stream, just a couple of quick reminders, so I don't have to. Well, not so I don't have to. I enjoy going over them again. But anyway, if you enjoy what you see today, please, of course, as always, give us a follow, etc., etc. If you don't want to follow me here, that's fine. That's fine. These are my socials, and you can go ahead and follow me on any one of those if you are interested, or if you like what you see today. I may also do a couple of little random things during the time. And final warning: once an hour, 3 minutes ads. It's how Twitch do. Can't control that. Anyway, let's get into it. By the way, one last little bit. If by any chance you hear weird noises in my voice, there is literally an asphalt saw going on 2 stories down, because New York City, very loud, lots of construction. Welcome to 2025. Just like 2024, just basically construction going down below my window every goddamn day. Gotta love it. Greatest city in the world. Anyway, hopefully between the mic and NVIDIA broadcast and all that stuff, none of that is coming through. But if it is, and you hear a weird hum behind my voice, it's that. Blame the city of New York. All right. Anyway, let's get to it. So yesterday, we look. Here's where we are. We're about a little bit less than halfway point of the book. We have been, again, my first time going through Fabula Ultima, learning about it, because I do want to be able to run this for people, because I've heard so much good things about it, and as I've been going through it, it's lived up to expectations. I am incredibly pleased with how well Fabula Ultima has treated me. I like the rules. The only thing that I think I ran into, and it's not Fabula Ultima's fault. This is just a thing that is hard to do in tabletop RPGs in general, was the crafting mechanics. And not to say that I don't think they're good. I think they're actually very good. Much better than many crafting mechanics that I've seen in a lot of other tabletop RPGs. Like, they did a good job, but there are pitfalls with crafting mechanics that take, anything that's going to take a large amount of in-character time, weeks or months to do, is surprisingly tricky to handle as a GM in a way that really makes sense for everybody, lets everybody have fun, doesn't sideline one character or another. And so the way that the crafting rules, which I believe I may have already scrolled past. Did I scroll past? No, here we go. Oh, there's actions. Anyway, I think I scrolled past the crafting rules. Anyway, I like what they're doing, but I personally would house rule it just a little bit. So instead of doing the... Wait, actually, here we go. Spells, rituals, economy and items. Is it around here? Equipment, shields, basic weapons. Projects. Right, that's what I'm thinking. Rather than crafting, it's projects. Right. So we discovered two things. One, that the game is not entirely clear on how you actually calculate these, in the sense that you have base costs and multipliers, but and we actually had somebody in chat yesterday who is planning to run this game or has run it, and realized that they were apparently doing it wrong as well, because I thought that it made sense that, for example, something that was a major thing but huge, okay, so we got, for example, the example here, right, the Discovery, this big ship, and it's a major, large, and permanent, which means it starts with 400 zenith as a base cost for major, large is a 3 times multiplier, and permanent is a 5 times multiplier. So I thought, and our viewer yesterday, King Pine, right? King Pine said yesterday that they thought, and I thought as well, because it kind of made sense for me, just based on how the costs were, that you would multiply major, you basically do both multipliers separately and then add them together. So 400 for the start for major, and then multiply that by 3 for large would have been 1200, and then 400 multiplied by 5 for major would have been 2,000, so the grand total would have been 3,200. That's what I thought, and that's apparently what they were doing in their game. And then, and the game again, the book itself doesn't quite make that clear. It just says, like, you know, consulting these, but it doesn't say like the order of operations. But then when we look at the example, and you might have spotted it already, the Discovery there costs 6. Hey, King Pine, how you doing, buddy? Hello, friend. I was just talking about you, So yeah, we saw that. Oh no, the cost is 6,000. So it means that the actual order of operations is potency times area times uses. So making that 400 times 3, and then the total of that times 5 to make it permanent. And that is how cost is calculated, which, now that we know how it works, I'm fine with. Like I said, the only other change that I would make, and that might just be a personal preference thing of mine, is that for some of this stuff, I might, instead of doing the whole count of, the progress points thing, I might actually handle it as a clock, especially for bigger projects like something like this. But that's one of the very few slight criticisms that I've had of the game so far. You're doing good. How am I doing? Hopefully, well, yes. Hopefully, only for the most part, good things. Yeah, I really have no major complaints. Did not get as much done yesterday as I wanted to do, but no one to blame but myself on that. Having some nice spiced chai. Instinctively, I want to say chai tea, and I know it's like saying ATM machine. Like, chai means tea, so I'm just being good and just saying chai. Anyway, having some lovely tea. And last night we played a little moon ring. We had a couple of folks stop by. That was a good time. And then today, I got in my exercise. All right, I do work out. Very important, especially, you may have noticed, based on the color of my beard, not a spring chicken anymore. So exercise, important. If you are a spring chicken yourself, take it from one who only really started taking care of themselves in their 40s. Don't wait like I did. Don't wait like I did. You mean hopefully only good things talking about... Oh, yeah, no, also good things about you. Yes. No. All good there. Like I said, it was just like, oh, yeah, here we have somebody who actually is experienced with the game as opposed to me, who's going through it for the very first time and discovered just at the same time that I did that the calculation that we were doing here was actually wrong. And so we discovered the correct way. So, like, it is possible. Like I said, it's one of the very few times that I've run into so far. And we're only about halfway through the book, so who knows? Maybe the rest of the book is trash. Doubt it. But one of the few times that I've run into something, I'm like, oh, okay, that was actually kind of unclear, because this book has done a really good job of being very clear about a lot of the just how you work with everything. It is one of the better examples of tabletop RPG writing, and specifically rules writing. That's something that I've gotten a lot of experience with, just doing these streams and going through many games. I'm also doing some editing for a game. I'm working on some games of my own, so I've gotten kind of a feel sometimes for how to word things. Man, I'm not good with the mouth sounds sometimes. How to word things in a rule book so that they are still readable and make sense, but also, unlike a regular novel or anything, like well, no, I'm not saying like you always have to deliver information, right? But in a rule book specifically, you got two things you need to do. One is deliver the information of the rule in a clear, concise way that 99.9% of your audience is going to be able to understand, and also deliver it in a way that fits the theme and flavor of your game. It is harder than it sounds. Fabula Ultima has done a great job with that so far. Okay, yeah, so am I. So when we left off yesterday, we started making a character. We decided, you know what? Let's go to the character classes by making a character. And so we created our identity. We actually rolled it on the table, and we came up with the young king of the sacred flame. And we kind of came up with a little hi, cat. Cat, what are you doing? Do you want lap time? You can have lap time if you come up. Come on. Let's see if I can get her up here. Come on. No? Okay, well, if she decides to join us, she will. Anyway, we came up with a theme. The theme of oh geez, what was it? No, it wasn't duty. It wasn't doubt. It's belonging. I believe it was belonging. No, hope. Right? Was it hope? Was it hope or was it belonging? Great. I could just watch my own VOD, but I'm not going to do that now. Do you remember by any chance, chat? Did you remember if I chose hope or belonging? Because we came up with the idea, the general plot, filling out the characters. It was hope. Okay, cool. Yes, hope it was. So, because the idea of this young king of the sacred flame, we're kind of establishing. I mean, I'm assuming that we have like the freedom to establish what the sacred flame is. I don't think we're gonna find that the sacred flame is established to be a specific thing. So we kind of, made up the idea of like, okay, he is the king of the sacred flame. The sacred flame is going to be a nation, but it's going to be a nomadic nation. And perhaps, that title is something, his parents, he's young. So what happened to his parents? Is the nation fallen? And it kind of assumed that, yes, they have somehow fallen, that they are reduced in some way. And this young king is traveling the lands, trying to, I guess, find their heritage, find their people, rebuild their kingdom. And that's sort of the general idea we have. So with that in mind, then we were like, all right, let's look at the classes. And first, holy shit moment, and you know what? Let's just remember it. There we go. First one of those was that I really like, first of all, you start at level 5. That means you have to distribute 5 levels, and you have to multi-class. Multi-class is required, so you can't just put all 5 levels into Darkblade, for example. Sorry, edgelords. You have to split it between at least through 2 or possibly 3. And so the choices that we had, we did not make a final choice yesterday. The choices that we have, let's start there. First of all, either an Arcanist or a Chimerist, one of those two, and then Orator and Spiritist, either both or one or the other. So we've got a few options, right? We got Arcanist Orator or Arcanist Spiritist, Chimerist Orator or Chimerist Spiritist, or Arcanist Orator Spiritist, Chimerist Orator Spiritist. So the reasoning behind all of them, right, is that I want to have the reason. Okay, let's go through why each class speaks to me. And we'll go actually through the whole list because you might as well look at all of them very quickly. We kind of did this yesterday, but catching up. So Arcanist, I like the idea. Hey, Phoenix, welcome in. Do like a required multi-class, makes it more unique and interesting. Right, exactly. It makes it so you have to, which is kind of what's happening here, right? You have to think through, okay, why, like what specific combination of classes and how does that fit my, the theme, the themes and the identity that we already decided, right? So we've had this theme, we have this identity of the young king of the sacred flame. We've got this theme of hope. So now, Arcanist I like because of the description here. Summon magical avatars of ancient godlike entities. So it sounds a lot like, kind of Final Fantasy VII summoner kind of things. Man, I hope those sounds, they are literally slamming down metal plates outside my window. Like I can feel it physically vibrating my building. I hope that's not coming through. NVIDIA broadcast, you are my only hope. Anyway, I like the concept of that the sacred flame itself is a thing, is maybe some kind of godlike, ancient godlike entity or force that my people follow and are connected with culturally, spiritually, religiously, etc., etc. And so being the king of those people and therefore having access to the ability to kind of summon avatars of the sacred flame really speaks to me. I like the idea that the king of the sacred flame is granted this specific blessing by the sacred flame and can kind of summon. Good. Thank you, Michael, over on YouTube. Apologies if you don't see your chat show up above my head. I've never quite figured out how to get the sort of the combined chat with YouTube and Twitch. If I ever figure it out, though, I will, because it's annoying that they don't show up. But anyway, Michael, thank you so much for letting me know over on YouTube chat. You are seen. Thank you for letting me know, because now I don't have to worry about that anymore. Anyway, so that's what I like. And I would like the concept of then these avatars. They're all avatars of the sacred flame, but they're like different aspects of it. That's the approach that I would take. So I really like that idea. The Chimerist, on the other hand, personal favorite of mine is blue mages. I make no secret of this. I love blue mages, even though I know technically like they're not, they are not the superior mage or anything. But just from a flavor standpoint, flavor, right? Because hey, PB, welcome in, friend, welcome in. I haven't seen you in a few days. Hope things are going well for you. Very glad to see you. Always glad to see you here on chat. So Chimerist, like I said, I love me a blue mage. But thematically, the way it would fit with my character, with this young king of the sacred flame, who we established as part of a sort of nomadic culture, a people who perhaps once had a homeland and are now nomadic and traveling. I kind of like the idea of a lost homeland. And the character, part of his theme of hope is reclaiming that lost homeland. And I'm not sure yet if it's lost in the sort of fantasy sense that we don't know where it is anymore, like it literally got sent up into the clouds or something, or if there's like some evil empire that took it over and our people are refugees rather than nomads. I don't know which approach I would like to take. Either way, for nomadic people that travel across multiple lands. And when I say nomadic in this case, like I know in the real world, many nomadic peoples will travel in the same general area, right? You're generally not going to have a nomadic people that, I mean, again, if I'm wrong on this, I may be wrong. Not a historian, not a sociologist. But my understanding is that there's not that huge, like usually the nomadic people would not, for example, roam all the way from, say, the tip of South America at the bottom all the way up to Canada and back, right? They would stay in a general area. Like they might still roam in a very large area, but there's not going to be a lot of big difference in, climates and terrain and everything, right? They're still generally migrating and living nomadically, like across these vast plains or across these hills and plains area without venturing too far outside of those. The way I'm seeing it in this world, though, Let's see. Wait, PB doing better. I've been sick. Oh yeah, yeah. I know you were like you were not feeling that great a little bit. So glad to hear you are feeling better. Well enough at least to hang out here. Uh, I'm loving Fabula Ultima so far. I'm loving Fabula Ultima so far. Like I said, not to recount what I just said for the. God damn it! Something bit me, and I can see it on camera, and now I'm self-conscious about it. Anyway. Not to recap, not to spend too much time recapping, but yes, we like everything that we've seen so far. If you saw the press play kind of tutorial thing last week, you know, pretty much all of that. But you know, I ran into one of the very few sort of places where we you know, have a very slight criticism. Mostly it's here in the crafting. One thing was that the way costs were calculated was not 100% clear, but we figured it out. And the other is that the way that long-term projects are handled is not the worst. I've seen it handled much worse. Actually pretty good. And usable as is, but personal preference for me, rather than requiring like progress points for big projects. You can see this one requires like 60 progress points, whereas most others require like 10, 15, 4, 6. For something like this, it's very big. Rather than doing that and requiring the crafter, the tinkerer, to make like, I think we did the math, it was like at least 12 rolls or something like that, to represent like a month's worth of work. Make it more interesting. Make it more, because if you're just keep rolling until you're eventually just going to succeed, that's not that fun. But if we make it a clock where you can gain, you know, areas on that clock, there is risk of going back on the clock. The rest of your party can intervene in better ways than just, oh, it's a combined roll, and you know, if with every ally you get one more progress point if you succeed on your roll, which is fine. Again, for short stuff like this, you're making pyro oil, takes 6 progress. Normally a tinkerer can only do 2 per day, but if the entire party 2 and there's a party of 4 people, 5 people, yeah, with everybody else helping, you can make it in one day. Cool. No problem. One single roll. Perfect. I'm not going to make a clock for that. But for something like this, yes, I would like to make, I would make it an adventure. This building the airship is not it's not just a project. It is a plot. It is an arc, right? That's my approach. And that's the closest thing to criticism that I've had so far. Pretty much everything else, it's just me going page after page, reading something and going and getting my mind blown. And so with that, now we've got to character creation, making a character. We've rolled on the identity creation tables, and we came up with the young king of the Sacred Flame. The Sacred Flame, I have decided, is a nomadic people that are traveling across the land. The theme for my character is hope, as he is trying to reclaim and rebuild that kingdom, trying to rejoin his people. What happened to him? He is young, he is a king. What happened to his parents? Are they still alive? Were they deposed? What happened to the kingdom? Where'd they go? We don't know yet. We'll figure all that out. I don't think I've ever dealt with a vanilla crafting mechanic in a tabletop RPG. Now that I'm thinking about it, my GMs have always changed it up. Yeah, exactly. Vanilla crafting mechanics in most games are bad. Just bad. They're not fun, right? That's one of the things, like when I'm working on my games on Fridays, I like, especially when I was like working on my crafter, I kept harping on and on about that, and that's why the crafter of my game is kind of weird. Like, their crafting only works within dungeons, but within dungeons they can basically pull off miracles with a single action, right? Making it a little bit more flexible, but also, you know, tying them down to that. Anyway, that's a whole other game, which for those of you on stream, show up Friday. You might see a little bit of that. That's what I do on Fridays. I work on my own game. Anyway, I think we're caught up. Let me wet my whistle with a little bit of chai and get to it. All right. So now, character classes on this. Again, you have to pick 2 or 3. You have to multi-class. Fucking love it. Already gave why I think Arcanists are good. Yeah, right? I mean, there's not... Yeah, there's something. I need something. I should make that into like a... just an emote, right? I do have all my little ghost emotes, but I don't. I need to stop scratching. God damn it! I don't. What bit me? It's the middle of winter. There's no mosquitoes. Cat, is it you? Where is she? All right, good. Anyway, Chimerist, Blue Mage. Love Blue Mages. Love learning things from here. Here's why it fits for my character. nomadic people. That's where I was ranting on before my last sidebar. I want the nomadic people of the Sacred Flame in this game to be like fantasy nomads. They are traveling across multiple lands. They are traveling through the snow. They are traveling through the mountains. They are traveling through the valleys. They are traveling through the deserts. They even probably have at some point a sea crossing. Like they hit all the biomes. And if they do that, then it kind of makes sense that their magic would be something that they would learn from the creatures and beings in the lands as they travel through them. And it would make for a very eclectic sort of magic growth as he is following the path of his people, and as he follows them by the creatures and beasts that they meet, his own knowledge and power as the king rises. So I like that approach too. Both the Arcanist and the Chimerist really make a lot of sense, but I don't want to do both. It'd probably be one or the other. And then, hey, Rodent Robotics, welcome in, friend. Welcome in. Proposis unlocked. Anyway, during the next break, I'm going to come back with a hat. All right, and then let's go through the rest of the list, and we'll get to the other ones that I'm considering, right? So Dark Blade, unleash dark attacks and draw power from bonds and allows you to equip martial melee weapons. For this young king, I don't think that, and his theme of hope, I don't see him as a Dark Blade. I don't see him, like, I see him as capable in combat, but I don't, like, if I had chosen maybe, like, vengeance for my fallen kingdom or something, maybe a Dark Blade might make more sense. But I like the Sacred Flame sounds more like light, sounds more like life. I don't think a Dark Blade would make sense for my character as much as, who doesn't love a good Dark Blade, right? Finally not joining in the last hour. Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate, even if you show up at the last hour, you show up, and that's what I appreciate. Elementalist, wield the destructive power of the elements. Yes, who doesn't love to throw some fireballs and do the Avatar sort of stomp on the earth, boulder rises up, do the thing, send the boulder, all that shit. Great, love it. Not for my character, though. I don't think he is a destructive wielder of the elements. Not the way I'm picturing. Entropist, channel the dark energy of the cosmos. Now, if I was not playing the young king of the Sacred Flame with this background, I would love to try out Entropist. I love chaos magic. I love wild magic. Sure, who doesn't like manipulating dark energy, whatever. Shadow daddies are a thing, right? But not for my character. But when we get to that character class, I want to see what it does. I'm real curious about it, just not for my character. Fury, provoke enemies, hit harder when damaged. Sounds very barbarian. Barbarian style. Not my character's style, right? Guardian and Lore Master. Guardian, protect your allies and fight clad in heavy armor. Again, not what I'm going for with my character. He feels a little more priest-like. He feels a little bit more of a social and light magic kind of guy. Lore Master, be a master of knowledge to support your allies, is tempting, but I feel like the fact that he's a young king, then while it would be interesting to play a young king who carries all this lore and who what ground control? Why are you such a piece of crap program? Why do I use you? Why do I use you, ground control? Why do you keep crashing like that for no good reason? And then every time I restart you, I lose the chat. If I didn't have a backup chat. You stream elements, get your shit together. Rewrite, update ground control. It's why? Why is it like this? Anyway, I know Stream Elements is watching because they send me emails. Anyway, I like the concept of a younger character who is still very wise and knows all the lore of his people. Maybe that's why the hope is there, because he's trying to follow the lore. But I want to take more of a traditional JRPG approach, and my character is to a point ignorant of his people's of all his people's history. Right, he is discovering. Maybe, if we go with traditionals or JRPG tropes, he didn't know he was the king of the Sacred Flame. Maybe, here we go. coming up with plot, we're coming up with lore. I think I may have figured out what happened to his parents, right? So what if the fall of the... Ooh, okay. So the fall of the people of the Sacred Flame was a while ago. It's been a few generations. The royal bloodline was thought to be extinct. But the last king deposed, traveling with his people, the last king and queen of the Sacred Flame, knew something. There was a secret. There was something that they knew, and they knew they had to send their child away. So maybe he was raised somewhere else. Maybe he wasn't raised with the people of the Sacred Flame. He's just discovered that, his legacy of being the king of the Sacred Flame, because when his parents died or disappeared mysteriously, either way, right, that's what we're finding out. Maybe the Sacred Flame, if we go with an arcanist, maybe the Sacred Flame itself reached out to him in a dream or something like that to let him know, like, it is your time to step up and rule your people or something like that, right? So, but then that kind of rules out the lore master. We don't know, but I do like the idea of eventually, as he starts getting more and more knowledgeable about his people and about their history and what's happened, I think it might be interesting to pick up some levels of lore master. We'll see what that does. Civil War, hereditary conflict. Yeah, exactly. There's many reasons that we could use to come up with like what happened and why he, up until now, was not aware of his like royal heritage, right? Have you ever played Paper Mario Lore Masters? A lot of Goombario energy? Oh, yes, I love Paper Mario. Oh, okay, I'm looking forward to looking at that. All right, so now we get to one of the ones that is a potential, a contender, if you will, the Orator. Use your words to gain allies and influence conflicts. And for a boy who would be king, right? I'm going to be king of the pirates. Believe it. I just pissed off 2 entire huge fan bases all at once. I'm a part of both, so suck it. Anyway, for a young man who would be king, being an orator, being able to influence people, being able to be charismatic and leader-like is important. That said, do I want to have the orator from the very beginning, or do I want to have that be something that he grows into? Might be a decision that we make once we hit the other one that I want, but that's a few options down. And there's Rogue, seize opportunities and steal unique items from enemies. I love me a good Rogue. And again, were I not making this character, a Rogue Entropist combination would be my little wannabe edgelord that I might try out as well. Sir Protector Knight, please take the heir to a remote community and teach him the ways of a good king. Yeah, exactly. Like, we have something, you still have to hide away his heritage. He cannot know until it is time or whatever. But maybe he had a protector. That could also be another one of the player characters. That could be interesting. Having his knight protector, who up until now he is thought of as like Uncle Steve or whatever, and raised him in this little village, something like that. Michael, that was on YouTube. I forget that the rest of you here on Twitch are not seeing that, but yeah, Michael says raised by his aunt and uncle in the desert, closely watched by a former lore master that has been living in disguise as a hermit. Exactly. Like Run Robotics, Michael, Twitch and YouTube coming together and giving us very well related ideas. Yes, exactly. Like raised in a village by a secret protector. I've also, okay, spoiler warning, I guess, but I'm not actually going to spoil. But this is something, there's a theme that happens in a novel that I'm currently reading, The Will of the Many. I'm not done with it yet. How far along am I? I think I'm just over half. I might be around 75% done with that one. Will of the Many, really enjoying it. It's kind of like a high fantasy Roman Empire kind of thing. Got a really interesting magic system. It's also like, kind of like a magic school. It's not quite Dark Academia. Anyway, I'm enjoying it. I'm really enjoying the book. It's a very long book. It's like 700 pages. It's huge. But this reminds me of certain events within the novel. Nothing more said because I don't want to spoil it for anybody who might actually ever read it. Let's see. King Pine says, one thing that I will say is that if you choose to start with 3 classes, you are locked into those 3 until you get to level 10 and master one. Right. So it removes a tiny bit of flexibility with the character until then. Good point. Which is part of why when we get to the other class, Spiritist, that's when we're going to have to make some choices, right? So let's skip Rogue. I don't think our character fits as a Rogue. Sharpshooter. I love being a good gunslinger. Those of you who have been on the stream for a long time and have seen some of my earlier streams know that I have history with gunslinger characters. I've been hurt before. I don't think this young king would be a sharpshooter, but I'm very curious to see how this game handles that, because I like gunslingers, I like sharpshooters, but I've seen them done so very wrong. Then Spiritist, here we go. So Spiritist is one of the options, one of the short lists, right? Support your allies with magic and cast light spells. The reason I'm curious about Spiritist, and I think, is because I like that feeling of the sacred flame being this overall benevolent force, some benevolent entity. And so if he is touched and marked by the sacred flame, it makes sense to me that he would be a spiritist and he would have light magic and he would be a support. Also, on a personal level, I enjoy playing support characters. I know it's not for everybody, but I myself love playing support characters. So let me finish the list, and then we'll refocus on the choices. And the Tinkerer, craft inventions use inventory points anyways. I'm really curious to see what the Tinkerers are like. I'm excited to see what they can do with the inventory points. I love me a good crafter class. Anything I can use to gain inspiration for my own crafter classes, I will take. I don't think it fits for this character, but I'm very excited to see it. Wayfarer, be a master explorer, and join forces with a loyal companion. I'm curious about that. It sounds like the whole join forces with a loyal companion. I mean, that might not be a bad thing, right? Master explorer, nomadic people. But I feel like that's one that he would grow into later, like once he masters something else. I feel like future potential growth could be him becoming a wayfarer. Maybe once he's traveled a while, right? And Weapon Master, another fighting focus, excel at melee combat, counter melee attacks. Again, doesn't fit the concept of my character quite. So we've got 2 choices to make. One is Arcanist or Chimerist, and the other one is Orator or Spiritist. Because based on what King Pine said, I think we're going to lock it down to only 2 rather than all 3. Which means, okay, I kind of like the idea. Okay, I think I've narrowed it down to 2 sets. One is an Arcanist Spiritist, the other one is a Chimerist Orator. Arcanist Spiritist, that combination would make the young king very much a sort of a child of fate, a child of destiny kind of thing, right? Where he is chosen, he is touched by the sacred flame, he channels its power, he manifests it into the world in various ways. Very much a chosen one kind of story. My voice is Chimerist Orator. It lends itself to a very kind soul with all the responsibility. Right. So now when you go into the combination of Chimerist Orator, now it's more of a growth story. Now maybe he's got that natural charisma. He's still got that royal bearing. He comes from that lineage, and maybe the mysterious uncle that is actually a knight that helped raise him. That's part of it, right? That's part of it. He made sure that our young king, our young future king, would had the right manners, had the right education, knew in many ways, how to deal with people and how to be, what it means to be a good leader, that sort of stuff. And then that means that with the Chimerist, as he starts learning more, as he discovers his lineage, his history, then just like his people, as he travels through the lands to find them and unite them, he learns from the creatures in those lands, growing his power, right? Very Tolkien-esque. Chimerist orator, both mechanically and thematically. All right, yeah. So I think we've made our choice. As much as I like the idea of the Arcanist Spiritist, and I think that's a different story. That's a full-on chosen one tale. The Chimerist orator is a more natural growth kind of thing that I go. So I think we're gonna go with a Chimerist orator. You know what I should do? Bear with me just a moment, folks. You're not gonna see it on screen, but I'm opening up my browser. I'm gonna open up a Fabula Ultima character sheet that I can fill, so I can kind of like do this as I go. Here we go. Okay, so I've got one, so I'm just gonna write them out. So identity, young. Okay, actually, no. I should just share this out. Let's switch windows real quick so you can see what I've got here. Oh, you're not seeing. Okay, wait. Do it again. There it is. Okay, boom. There we go. Character sheet. All right. Let's see. Growth stories are always really satisfying. Yeah, exactly. I like that because the first one, the Arcanist Spiritist, it's like, still room for growth, of course, but it's like, from the beginning, that's what you are, right? We found your definition. With the Orator, actually, let me switch windows again real quick before I finish with that. With the Orator, with the Orator Chimerist, that gives us room to later add stuff. So Lore Master could be a natural outgrowth as we travel and learn more, or possibly as we grow a greater connection to the Sacred Flame itself, we discover and grow that Spiritist or Arcanist connection later, right? So it's both are things that can come. Wayfarer is also a direction that our character could grow into relatively early on as they set off on their adventure and start to learn more and more about traveling and all that stuff. So there's several different paths that we could go depending on how the story grows. Let's see, Chimerist does leave a good amount to your GM, so if you want to be a support, you have to really talk to your GM about enabling. Cool, good to know. Chimerist in general requires a lot of communication with your GM, which can be both a positive and a negative. Okay, so good to know. Like I said, I personally, because I love Chimerist, I love Blue Mages. So as somebody who's dedicated to that sort of stuff, I'm sure I would make it work. But also good to know, as somebody who wants to run this game, good to know that there is a little extra workload for the GM on those. Not that I mind at all. If a player of mine wants to play a Chimerist, again, I love Blue Mages. I will enable you. I will enable your awesome. All right, so back to the character sheet real quick. OBS, switch over. Thank you. All right, so young king of the Sacred Flame, and then theme is hope, and origin was, what was our origin again? I guess it's just basically, okay, so that we would have picked during, so whatever, small village, something that we would have created during, like world creation, whatever, the small village that we started on. Don't worry about it. All right, now we skip our bonds because now we're going to classes. Where are classes? Okay, class level, here we go. So our options are Chimerist, Chimerist. There we go, Chimerist. I saw all of a sudden all my brain would come up with is chemistry, and chemistry is an obscure discipline from Vampire the Masquerade. Hell, does that even exist in Vampire Revised or 5th edition or whatever? Chemistry? I don't think so. That was, what was it? The chemistry was the Ravnos. Oh boy, that was a problematic thing. Anyway, Chimerist and an Orator. Now, I guess we need to figure out. Okay, character level is 5, right? So we got that. Oh, class level. Okay, so now we figure out Chimerist and Orator. Let's go with Chimerist 2, Orator 3. because, and yeah, I mean, we might change this, right? I'm not married to this. Once I look at the character classes, I might decide that actually it makes more sense or whatever to do it the other way. But the reason I'm choosing this split right now is that I feel like, oh, he's gotten more training, again, in his village from his sort of mysterious uncle about how to be a king and how to be a good person, how to be wise and talk to people and how to work with people, all that stuff. He's gotten more of that in his life than he has about Chimerist. In fact, this is the kind of thing that he's just set off on that. He's just started learning. Like he's, once we start the game, it's effectively like, he knows, right? He's already discovered it. He's discovered what he is. He's set off on his journey. So maybe like he's already had the opportunity to go like, oh, this is how you're, like his uncle told him, this is how your people be. This is how they learn traditionally. And so, maybe took him out and helped him, learn his first couple of powers or whatever. We'll see how that works out once we get to the full description. Okay, there we go. So we got that. Let's switch back to the book. Nope. The book. There we go. And let's keep going through it. Let's see. Chimeras in general can be super powerful or feel useless. Getting the balance right as a GM is the hard part. Right. I mean, that's the thing. Like there are many character classes like that. So like in other games, I mean. So like I'm curious to see how it goes. We'll look at the mechanics shortly. Okay, so let's see. So every class gives short description, list of questions, help you define the goals, experience, and behavior of your character. We'll get to those. List of free benefits your character will gain simply by acquiring the class. There's ability to equip martial equipment or slight increase of hit points, yada yada. And a set of 5 class skills that are unique to the class in question. Whenever you invest a level in a class, you acquire one of the skills. Any skills marked with a plus can be acquired multiple times, usually making them stronger or more flexible. The number following the plus symbol tells you the maximum number of times a skill can be acquired. Okay, that makes sense. Test of a skill requires SL, that's skill level, makes sense. Classes, keep in mind these skills these simply represent your current abilities. They will not impact your character's role in the narrative unless you want them to, and you may steer your character in entirely different directions. Yada yada yada. Cool. All right, all of this is good. So, determine the base die size of your attributes. Each of your player character's main attributes, dexterity, insight, might, and willpower, is represented by a die size, d6 to d12. And yeah, we got the basic explanation of them. We saw this in the start playing tutorial, so not going to spend too much time on this. But probably just go with average. So, I'm tempted to go with a jack of all trades. I don't think he would be super specialized, because if he was specialized, let's take it in that. So if we were specialized, he would probably be specialized in willpower, in insight, and then dexterity and might would be very low. But I don't like that his dexterity and might are very low. He's going to be a traveler. He's going to move around. So then if we go average, then maybe willpower is still his primary. Yeah, average is sort of the default. Exactly. That's how all the tutorial ones were created. You're right, King Pine. I'm just trying to think through what makes sense for the character. So if we go with average, then willpower would be his primary. Insight would be one of the D8s, and then either he's not that strong or he's not that dexterous. And there would probably be D8 for dexterity and D6 for might, because he's not a fighty character. But jack of all trades for a all-round, like he's supposed to be kind of good at most things, maybe, but no, I think his people are not a terribly warlike people, clearly. And so martial and physical education was the one area where maybe he didn't get too much training. Therefore, maybe going back to the character sheet, where are you? Here we go. Going back to the character sheet, I think that I would go with willpower being D10, dexterity being D8, nope, not D89, insight being D8 as well, and might being D6. I think that kind of makes sense. Also look at the cast before deciding base die size, but I do normally do the character building in different order. Yeah, no, okay, got it. I mean, yes, none of this is set in stone, right? Like if I get to one of the character classes and go like, oh, actually, Chimerists are all about might. Like you need might. That is your power stat as a Chimerist. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, let's maybe flip dexterity and might around. But for, especially since willpower gets defined as the sort of the charisma stat. So you can, you kind of see there, like it's specifically determination charisma. So I think that should always be like his main thing as the king. And especially since we have the 3 levels in orator, like that should probably be his focus, right? Exactly. But as always, yeah, like until you start playing, and even this is how I do it again. Especially the unspoken, but again, an official house rule for me is once you start playing, if there's something in your character that you haven't used yet, and it makes sense to kind of change it out, change it out. Let's do that before. If it is something that your character has used, then still talk to me. Like maybe we can still figure it out. Maybe you can like retcon a little thing or like figure it out. Because if you're like, oh, you know what, I don't, especially if you're like, oh, this isn't what I thought it was. I'm not enjoying it, or actually I don't like how this works after all. Yeah, cool. It's a game. Let's figure it out. Let's figure it out. I'm not going to sit there and go like, well, no, you made a choice and now you're stuck with it. Now you have to play this character that you hate forever. Ha ha ha. No. What? Are there people? Yes, there are people like that, aren't there? But no, not me. Not me, friends. Not me. Anyway. So yeah, I like this description. I like how we got it right now. Willpower D10, might D6, insight and dexterity D8. I think those are going to be our stats. So basically kind of like Camilla here, except swap out willpower for insight. All right. And again, we'll look at the classes and skills and stuff, and we might move stuff around. Who knows? Maybe we'll actually swap might with dexterity or something like that. Or maybe we'll swap insight with dexterity. Maybe he's got charismatic and he's physically capable, but not very smart. Could be. Or not very observant, could also be an option, right? And if you really do not like your character constantly, just roll up a new character. Like you said, I'm not going to force you to play. Exactly. Like we're here to play a game. The implication that it is for fun is kind of built into the word game, right? If you're not having fun, then I, as a GM, am doing something wrong. Probably. Not always. Some people just don't know how to have fun. But as a rule, right? Like and me as a GM, it is kind of my job to try and ensure, or at least provide as many opportunities and chances and tools to my players for them to have fun. Because otherwise, why are we doing this, right? So yeah. If you don't like your character, let's roll up a new one. This is JRPG. Again, JRPGs with casts of like 40 characters are a thing. So like, yeah, swap out one character for another and let's fucking go. All right, so we calculate our hit points and mind points. It's really simple. Total character level times 5 times your character's base might dice size. So it's 45 hit points for me because my might is no, not 45. Sorry, my might is D6. So it's 35 hit points. Oof, I am. Let's put that right there. You don't see it, but it's okay. And then my crisis score is equal to half my hit points thrown down. So that's 15, 16, 17 is my crisis. And then MP would be willpower. Okay, so willpower is MP. Cool. So yeah, I get 55 MP. Nice. Let me put that on the character sheet. Let me show you all right there. So there you go. Okay. Calculated. Now, calculate your inventory points. Okay, that's not really a calculation. I guess maybe tinkerers might get something extra. Who knows? But by default, it's just 6. Since neither orator nor weapon master increase maximum inventory points, Camilla has maximum. Okay, yeah, exactly. And I don't have, like, maybe one of mine. We'll see. I don't think orator clearly doesn't. They just stated that, and I probably think that Chimerus probably doesn't, but we'll find out soon enough. Yeah, certain classes add up. No, it makes sense that certain would, because they're more dependent on equipment, right? Okay, calculate your defense, magic defense, and initiative. And before we go full tinker, just to bring the discussion full circle. All right, let me see here. Your defense is equal to your current dexterity dice size. Okay, so that's easy. So my defense is, where does that go? Where would I put that in my character sheet? Defense. I don't see that. Current dexterity. I guess you don't have to write it because it's just equal to your current. Magic defense equal to twice your current insight size. And no, there's got to be a place to put that. Where is it? I don't see. Okay, here we go. There are bonds, pronas, fabula points, experience points, backpack notes. Let me switch over to that screen. Maybe one of you will spot it. Also, chat is popping off. Let's see. Defense and magic defense are modified by armor. Okay, above your equipment. Thank you. Thank you. Let's see. So counter spells. Okay, wait. God damn it. Switch over. OBS. Be good. There we go. So equip. Okay, okay. So I may not equip. I don't mark it. Okay, there they are. You're right. So initial modifier starts at 0, I think, according to the book. Yes. Defense is equal to your current dexterity die size. Okay, so dexterity is D8, so that's 8, and magic defense is equal to your insight die size, which is also D8. So yes, 8 and 8. Okay, cool. Easy peasy. And then if I get armor and stuff and equipment, that might get modified. Nothing that I have unlocks any of this stuff. All right. Yes. All right, back to the book. OBS, please make the thing happen. There we go. Let's see. So we calculated defense, magic defense, and initiative. Easy enough. Purchase starting equipment. You got a total of 500 Zenit. To purchase equipment, by default, you can only purchase basic weapons, basic armor, and shields. These items are listed on the next 4 pages for easy reference. And since none of these allows me to do so, it's just going to be basic stuff. Cannot buy any martial items. So we'll see that on the next page. Roll for initial savings. Character being displayed with an. Okay, so you have 500 Zenit to purchase equipment. Write any items. Remember that ranged weapons do not require you to attract ammunition. If none of the basic weapons objects fit your character concept and your group is okay with it, you may use rules for creating rare weapons. Okay. By default, starting weapons don't have any quality. Okay, starting level JRPG makes sense. You don't start with Excalibur. You may ignore one or more until the rest of your group agrees on it. All right, now if you have Senate to afford the improvements. So let's pick. So now I'm curious. So you start with some savings. Oh, here we go. Yeah, no, never mind. It is addressed. I was going to say, what happens if I have any left over from here? But they go, any leftovers added from the previous episode added to the initial savings. All right. Folks, before we go on a shopping interlude, you know, it's fitting, actually. We're about to go full capitalist in character creation, and Twitch wants me to show you ads. So I'm going to go ahead because I'm kind of done with my chai anyway. Going to swap out for some water. So I'm going to do that. Y'all are going to sit down and watch some ads. I don't make the rules. Twitch does, and they're forcing you to do this. I don't think you have a choice. It's just how it is. It's kind of a Clockwork Orange situation, really, is what's going on here. So, despite that, I assure you that we will be right back. Hello, comrades. How was your excursion to the ad zone? Mine was fine, really. Nothing much to tell. Hey, it's time. It's time. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to our shopping episode. We're doing a shopping episode. We've got 500 zenit rather to spend, and we should buy some stuff. So we're not fighters. We're not really a good fighter. So, given our stats, where should we go? How should we choose? I think, let's see. So one thing about weapons I will say is certain skills require certain weapons. Good to know. So maybe, in that case, knowing that, King Pine, thank you for the heads up. By the way, I just want to say, I really appreciate having somebody on chat who is actually familiar with the game and can give us a little heads up. Because a lot of the time, like I haven't had to use my little, I haven't really had to use that much because normally I have to go that when I go like, all right, so we're doing this thing, and then like, oh, I don't know how this thing, they haven't explained this, and then the very next page like, there's the explanation. So I really appreciate you actually being able to give me some heads up here. So with that in mind, do I maybe want to wait until I get to the class descriptions so I know like what the skills are that I'm going to use, and then come back and buy appropriate equipment? I think so. I think that might be a better choice. We do have some advice here. We'll read that, and then we'll come back to this. I think it's probably a better choice to look at the classes, look at the skills, especially knowing that. So let's see. Oh yeah, and they do tell you about that here, right? Shopping advice. Okay, so that's actually really nice to have in the book too. Weapons and armor shields, you choose. Here's some useful tips. Choose a main weapon that complements your choice of attributes. Ideally, you want to be able to roll at least 1d10 plus 1d8 for accuracy. More accurate weapons, such as swords and daggers, can compensate for low attributes, even if your character tends to rely on spells. Purchase a weapon for them to use when low on mind points, dagger, staff, or tome. While lighter armors increase your defense score. Martial armors replace that score with... Okay, we already saw that in the sort of earlier description. So we'll come back to the equipment. Name and finishing touches. Oh, I am bad at names. Let's just kind of, let's see. Ooh, I'm just gonna tell the internet to give me one. Give me one of those classic old name generators. Where's my? Okay, here it is. Open that in a new lab. Let's see, fantasy name generator. Cool. Here we go. FantasyNameGenerators.com. Creating fantasy names for the longest time without needing to use frickin' AI. Beautiful. Final Fantasy, female Hrothgar names. Well, they're very, very specific. No, I just want a regular fantasy name. Give me, oh my God, so many. I should just share just so you can look at that. So many. Valkyrie name, vampire names, Koloshe name. I don't know what the fuck is a Koloshe. I just want a name. I just wanted a fantasy name. Kaiju and kobold names. Jormungandr. There's one Jormungandr. What do you mean Jormungandr names? It's one name. Jormungandr. That's the name of it. No, I need to click on this. What the fuck is happening here? I'm sorry. Jormungandr, 10 random Old Norse names for monstrous snakes like. Okay, so it's a monstrous snake generator, not a German. It's like saying it's a Bob generator, and it's just all variations of Bobs. Robert, Robbie, Robert, Bobby. I mean, that's not the worst actually. I just want a standard fantasy creature, fantasy surnames. Sure, fantasy surnames. Let's go. Give me a couple of those. I hate all of those. These are terrible. These are, no, I hate all of these. Heroic horse names. Come on, I need a name. I'm so bad at making up names, and now this. All right, let's just go. Let's see. First one we see that makes sense. What the fuck is it? Caladrius? Don't know. Christmas elf? No, not Christmas elf name. Stop it. Wait, what did I do? No, here we go. What is happening here? Oh, because this closed. There we go. Ghost, spirit, no ghoul, giant, gnome, goblin. None of these. Why is there not a simple just fantasy? There used to be. You could just get a name before. Why is there so much here? Oh my God. Old man yells at cloud. The stream. Fine. I give up. I give up. His name is Bob. He is Bob. He is Bob. I'm making Bob. Everybody else now has to deal with it. We are making Bob. Bob, the young king of the... In fact, I'm going to make it official. I'm going to make it official. Name him Bob. Where's my character sheet? Here we go. And let's switch over. You're all going to watch this happen. You saw me. I tried to give him a proper fantasy name. He, him, they, them. There we go. Those are his pronouns. Bob, the young king of the sacred flame. Bobbert the third. Done. Bob Bobbert. Let's move on. Let's move on, shall we? Wait, here. Nope. That's the wrong thing. There we go. Nope, wrong thing. Aha, too many things. Okay, finally. We got our name. Finishing touches. Yeah, no. First of all, this is not the last one. We need to go to the character classes. We're far from done. So I'm bad at coming up with character descriptions. So just imagine him in your head. You know, we'll figure out what he looks like as we see more stuff. So this is cool. This I like here. This little list of classic characters. This is kind of cool for ideas. Like, I wonder if I don't think our combination... This is a close one. Troubadour was kind of a close one to what we had. Summoner, for a second there, I was very close to being a summoner style. Guardian Weapon Master, Elementalist Fury, Chimist. So Monster Mage is also a potential way we could go in the future. Black Knight, Tinker, Alchemist sounds fun. Gambler sounds fun, but not what we have. So Orator. Hey, wait. Orator. Oh, no. Well, close to it. This was another one that we could have been, but we are not. Magic Technician, Monster Mage, Ninja. I do like that these are all kind of presented after all this, because I feel like if they, and this is a choice they could have made, he's kind of commenting on the game design here. They very much could have made this section maybe without the equipment, but like they could have done that like right here, like in the choose 2 to 3 starting classes, and then right here immediately go like, here's a bunch of examples before we get to anything else, right? Of like combinations of character classes that lead to some, maybe without all the stats or anything. Like, it makes sense that it's presented here at the end after everything, because it's got stats, it's got equipment, it's got everything. But they could have chosen to just present, like, if you're looking for ideas for like which combination of character classes, here's a whole bunch. The problem is, if they had done that, I feel like it would have come off a little bit more prescriptive. Like, a lot of people would just simply choose from a list rather than make their own. So I like this, that it's presented here at the end, so that you kind of already went through all of this, or at least read through it, so you know what's going on. And then, hey, if you're still kind of lost, or if you're unsure or unhappy about your choice, here's a few more examples if you want to compare to how others might have done it. So I do like that. Yeah, exactly. It would limit a lot of people's creativity, right? I'm on the same page with you there, King Pine. All right. So this is all good. So, okay, now we're looking closely at them. So let's see. So Arcanist, I still, even though we've made our choice, right? We're going Chimist, we're going Orator, but the Arcanist still, calls to me. I do love summoner classes. So let's see. Also, Avatar, Chosen, or Summoner. There we go. So I didn't just make that up. Arcanists can fall into a deep trance and temporarily project a considerable portion of their soul outside the body, giving it physical form. Surrounded by this magical shroud, the Arcanist gains a variety of supernatural abilities. These summoned forms are said to be the manifestations of the ancestral souls belonging to mythical entities of legend known as the Arcana. In some worlds, the Arcana are even worshipped as deities. So questions. Where do your powers come from? Are they get from your bloodline? They would have been. Have you ever communicated with an arcanum, or are they silent and distant? Do people see you as mysterious, powerful, or otherworldly? Are there many practicing your art, or are you the exception? And then you would increase your mind points by 5, so your skills. Arcane Circle. Willingly dismiss an arcanum on your turn during a conflict. The arcanum had not been summoned during the same turn, and you have an arcane weapon equipped. You may immediately perform the spell action for free. The spell you cast this way must have a total mind point cost of 5. Oh, that's very cool. That's very cool. So basically, dismiss your arcanum and immediately get to cast a spell. Arcane Regeneration. When you summon an arcanum, you immediately recover hit points. That's very cool. Bind and summon. Bind an arcana to your soul. Summon them later. The game master will tell you the details of each binding process when you first encounter the arcanum in question. So I'm sure there's some guidance for the GM on that somewhere. You use an action and spend 40 mind points to summon an arcanum. You have bound. The details of the process are explained on the next page. That's a lot to spend, but okay, I guess it does like activate your character's abilities. So emergency arcanum. As long as you are in crisis, the cost for summoning your arcana is reduced by SL times. Okay, that's cool as well. I like that. Especially if combined with arcane regeneration. So you take damage, you go down to below your crisis, you get to summon your arcanum for free. So like, for example, skill level. So it would be, well, not summon your arcanum for free, sorry. Summon your arcanum for cheaper. At level 1 would be 40 minus 6, 34, and then for each level lowers it down further. And then if you buy multiple levels, yeah, so basically at a higher level, really that's like, that would be a huge combo, right? I'm fighting, and you kind of get to pull the villain move. You kind of get to pull the villain move of like, this isn't even my final form, right? You get lowered to like half your hit points. All of a sudden, you summon your arcanum, your powerful arcanum, and you freaking heal. Probably, depending on your levels, possibly even back up to max. And now it's like, now it's on. Now I've got my arcanum back out, and I'm full hit points. So that would be a cool little combo to pull off. Most of the magic classes have a prerequisite skill that you have to take to make the class work, such as bind and summon for the arc. Exactly. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. Like, there's like, this is kind of like your defining skill. In this case, yeah, if you can't bind and summon arcana, then you can't. In fact, you get all of them, right? That's the whole point. That what was it? No, wait. How was it? Oh, what did I do here? Oops. There we go. A little bit. God damn it. Window. There we go. Anyway, is it 1 skill per level, right? Or do you get all 5? I'm sure you're answering in chat, but I wanna go back and read it for myself. Okay, so list of free benefits and a set of 5. Okay, so you don't get all 5. Whenever you invest, okay, so it's 1 skill per level. Beautiful. That's the important part. I was 99% sure. I just wanted to double check because I got a little confused about the whole like, oh, here's the free things that you get. But no, the free thing that you get, for example, with the Arcanist is that whole, there we go, the extra 5 mind points. So actually, so for it's 1 of these per level. So at level 1, all you really get is bind and summon, and then go on from there. Makes sense. If you max it out, you get to do it for only 10 MP. If you max out emerging, yeah, exactly. Like if you max out those skills, that's a hell of a combo. That's a really nice combo. Okay, emergency arcanum and then ritual arcanism. You perform rituals of the arcanism discipline as long as their effects fall within the domain. So one or more arcana you have bound. Okay, cool. I do like that. Okay, so because. Let's go back real quick. So rituals of the Arcanism experience, right? So we did spend some time on rituals yesterday, and the Arcanism rituals specifically were about. Let me go back because I'm curious about that. Arcanism rituals specifically. Oh no, were about. Where was it? Wait. This is projects. Okay, rituals was before projects, right? Economy and items. Rituals. Yes. So Arcanism rituals is produce magical. Okay. So it's just that. I thought there was a domain kind of like Chimerism has enhanced your senses to the Ezra. I don't call the Fury. Or the Mentalism has about the elements. But there is a domain, but it's not one that applies to all of Arcanism. It's specifically tied to the Arcana that you have. Okay, cool. Understood and appreciated. One weird thing about Arcanists is that you don't get access to Ritualism ritual. They do get access to Arcanism rituals. Right. They did mention that. Like everyone else can pick up technically like ritualism rituals, not arcanists. Like their power kind of makes sense. I mean, I guess if you dual class with one of the other ones that does get ritualist rituals, then you probably would. But by default, yeah, you don't, because all your power as an arcanist goes through the arcana, right? And then based on which arcana you have, those are the domains, which means that if you have the Arcanum of the Forge, then Arcanist ritual magic would allow you to do Arcanist rituals related to fire, heat, or metal, with frost, cold, ice, or silence, that sort of thing. Cool. Understood. Also, well, so here's the thing, though. The Arcanist doesn't have access to the default ritualist rituals, but the Arcanist rituals, because they can be so varied, right? Especially as you keep binding more and more arcana, then you start gaining access to more and more domains for your rituals. So that means that you know, it gives you potentially a lot of flexibility as a character as you grow. Look at all the different arcanums that we have, right? So that gives you a lot of potential flexibility in the various domains and the combination of domains that you can have. Now, one curiosity that I have, here we go. Each arcanum is associated with a few key concepts of domains. The game master should use this to establish the trials needed to bind the arcanum and to adjudicate rituals performed to the ritual arcanism skill. So my curiosity, I guess we'll see. Let's see, ritual arcanism. It's right here. Okay, yeah. So it's answered here. What I was about to ask, which is the domains of one or more arcana you have bound, which means that if you have, for example, the Arcanum of the Forge and the Arcanum of the Gate, you could potentially do a ritual that combines elements of the fire, heat, or metal domains and the space, travel, or void domains. So you could do like a, metal and travel to maybe create some kind of temporary ritual, like bind the metal floor beneath you to turn it into a temporary boat or shelter or vehicle or something like that through like a magically moved one through the power of your ritual or something like that. I'm spitballing, but that flexibility, very powerful. Sounds very powerful to me. Not a complaint, a statement of will, basically, on that one. I'm real curious of what players might be able to make up. Jesus Christ. Sorry, I bumped up the volume of my headset and just as that the next Spotify song came up. Jesus Christ. Anyway, I like that. I like the potential flexibility of it. So that's why it makes sense to me that they don't by default get access to their rituals because of their potential. That said, when you summon an Arcanum, you get its merge benefits. Okay, so let's take a look at these. An Arcanum can be dismissed. Okay, all of this is makes sense. None of this is crazy. It's going to have a powerful dismiss effect. Oh, I like that. When you willingly dismiss your Arcanum, it has an extra effect, plus the potential of, like, if you have Arcane Circle, you get an extra thing with the dismiss effect. So that's very cool. Okay. So let's see. So let's look at them a little closer. So Arcanum of the Forge, domain, fire, heat, and metal. Any fire damage you deal ignores resistances when you're merged and you have resistance to fire damage. That's very cool. I'm a big fan in a lot of JRPGs of abilities that let something overcome resistance. Especially since sometimes when I play, not sometimes, pretty often when I play JRPGs, I like to specialize. And so if I'm like a fire guy and fire is all I have, and all of a sudden we reach that dungeon where fire, where the things are resistant to fire, well, fuck, I'm screwed. But if I have a power that makes it ignore fire resistance, then fuck it, I'm going all in, right? So I do appreciate that. Let's see, dismiss effect are your big fuck off moves. Let's check. Okay, so when you dismiss the Arcanum, choose Forge or Inferno. Forge, you create a basic armor, shield, or weapon of your choice. If you select this option again, the previously created item vanishes. If you create a weapon this way, it deals fire damage instead of physical. Or Inferno, choose any number of creatures you can see. Each of them suffers 30 fire damage. And as you if you get to level 20, it deals 40. And if you get to level 40 or higher, it deals 50. That's impressive. But I really like the Forge ability. That's actually very clever, right? You have fire damage, you do all this stuff, and then when you finally dismiss it, you dismiss it, and he like coalesces into like a flaming sword or a flaming spear or whatever. That then deals fire damage. That's cool. I like that. Flavorful. I dig it. Arcana of the Frost. You have resistance to ice. Any ice damage to yield resistances. Ice Age for dismiss. Choose any number of creatures you can see. Each of them suffers strength. Okay, so classic 30 damage. Very cool. I like that you can dismiss to like do like damage or do a big effect. Very cool. Arcana of the Gate, resistance to dark, +1 bonus to magic defense. Dismiss Arcana, which is Oblivion or Warp. Oblivion chooses any number of creatures you can see, 30 dark damage, or Warp, teleport within 1 travel day. Very cool. Arcana of the Grimoire, knowledge, revelation, understanding. Read, write, and speak. Oh, this is very cool. Okay. I was expecting, I will admit, I was expecting them all to kind of be very combat focused, right? And a lot of them are, to be fair. A lot of them are, and that's as they should be, right? Not a complaint. But I was really expecting them all to be like basically a fire arcanum, an ice arcanum, a lightning arcanum, a dark arcanum, and just basically the main flavors would be like the type of energy or power that they use. But their kind of the grimoire is completely like non-combat for them, not completely, but for the most part, right? I mean, having an insight higher means that, hey, it might help with other skills or stuff, but this is basically non-combat. Like you manifest the Arcana of the Grimoire, and you can read, write, speak, understand all languages, and your insight goes up. And then when you dismiss, it's not a damage thing; it's an oracle thing. It's ask the game master a single question, answer truthfully, etc., etc. So yeah, that's really cool. That's really cool. The plot only. Yeah. I appreciate stuff like that. Arcanum of the Oak, so it's a nature one. Earth, plants, and poison. Resistance to earth and poison. Recover hit points. Okay, so you're better healing. Yourself anyway. And then Blossom, she's a number. Okay, so recover from the poison and heals. Okay, so massive healing all around. Dig it. Arcanum of the Sky. Resistance to air and bolt damage. An action to accurately predict weather conditions for the next day within a range of 2 travel days. Okay, I'm sure that's more useful than it sounds like. And then Thunderstorm when you dismiss. Lightning bolt damage. Arcana of the Sword. Your attacks deal 5 extra damage. Okay, so this is like your fighter. All damage dealt by your attacks is treated as having no type, thus being unaffected by damage affinities. Damage dealt by your attacks cannot gain a type as long as you are merged with this Arcanum. When you perform an attack, you may have that attack gain the multi any number of targets property. If you do this, this Arcanum will automatically be dismissed after the attack is resolved. This is not considered a willing dismiss, which is fine because this is the only one that I see that doesn't have a dismiss effect. So a willing dismiss is kind of pointless with this. Instead of doing a willing dismiss, you do a multi-attack and then it goes away and then you would have to resummon. Weather conditions can make travel rolls harder, so it's pretty good despite... Yeah, exactly. Like I said, I'm sure it actually matters more in travel. Like, it's not as sexy initially as some of them, but it probably is pretty useful. Arcanum of the Tower, Judgment, Protection, and Sacrifice. This is your tank one. And choose a damage type, and you are resistant. Each of your allies from the scene has resistance to the chosen damage type, but you do not gain this resistance. Oh, interesting. Protection and Sacrifice. Yeah, it makes sense. That's a good flavor right there. Judgment, choose any number of creatures you can see. Each of them summons 30 light damage. As damage ignores resistance. Okay, so again, protection, light damage, kind of a paladin kind of thing. Arcanum of the Wheel, immune to slow. This is movement, destiny, speed, time. Dismiss time freeze. Each of them summons, slow. So it's not a full time freeze, but it's a time slow. All right. I dig it. I see what you're doing here. Of course, you would then, flavor these in your world, right? So had I gone with the Sacred Flame and being an Arcanist, Like, all of these are potential aspects, but the most likely ones were Sacred Flame Arcanist. We're going to, of course, Arcanum of the Forge, maybe Arcanum of the Gate, but much more likely Arcanum of the Grimoire, Arcanum of the Tower, Arcanum of the... maybe of the Sword because of the royalty aspect. Maybe of the Wheel because of the travel aspect. Yeah, good options. Okay, Chimerist, here we go. This is what we are. Also, Druid, Shapeshifter, and Wild Mage. Power without harmony will only lead to suffering. Chimerists gain their power from the souls of the monsters and beasts they encounter. By the way, I love the art. I love the art. This is actually... this fits a little bit kind of how I was picturing my dude. I was kind of picturing him a little more fiery because of the Sacred Flame thing. So maybe change the color scheme a little to have a little bit more red, a little bit more yellow. But overall, this is actually a really close match to kind of what I was picturing in my head for the character. So I like this vibe. We'll see if another one fits better, but I do like this vibe for kind of that character. By manipulating their inner wild energy, these mages may mimic the magical abilities of monsters and have reached a supernatural understanding of feral creatures. Chimerists frequently rely on their toughness and physical prowess. In addition to magic, they are often seen traveling the world in search of rare and enchanted creatures. So, interesting. They want you as a Chimerist to kind of be more physically capable, whereas my character is not so much. We'll see how well of a match that still remains. Who taught you the art of Chimerism? Is your mentor human or monstrous? So, for my character, it would have been Mysterious Uncle Knight, right? And so a human mentor because it is kind of my people's legacy. Can people and monsters live in harmony, or are they bound to threaten each other? Ooh, good question. I think in the world that we've got going, the default answer to that question is no, but the Sacred Flame's answer to that question is yes, they can live in harmony by following the path of the Sacred Flame. I like that. What does your magic look like? Well, I guess we'll find out once I get to the spells, but probably fiery themed, right? Sacred Flame. So some kind of like burning away. Maybe, like a cool visual effect would be tattoos. Tattoos that each tattoo represents a skill, a power that your Chimerist has gained. And when you activate the power, the tattoo kind of like flames up. Like it shimmers with fire, or it looks like it's flaming. The colors in it shimmer and flame. I like that idea. So it'll a flame as you activate that. That's what it looks like. Are there many practicing your art, or are you the exception? So let's say that in this world that we're creating, maybe the tribe of the Sacred Flame are the only ones that have this tradition of a Chimerist. Did you miss anything? Well, yeah, no, maybe. I don't know. We went through... welcome back, Phoenix, by the way. We're looking at the character sheets. We haven't gotten that far. We haven't even gotten equipment because we want to look at the character classes first and see what the skills require. We saw this stuff. We did look at the Arcanist. We like the Arcanist. It's not what we're playing, but we do like it. And we saw some cool combos that you can do and stuff like that. We really like that the Arcanist rituals would allow you to create weird combos based on the various Arcanum you have. Love it. Love it. And we're right away to Chimerist. So we're only 2 character classes in, friend. No worry. Don't worry. We got plenty of time. So let's see. So again, I think story-wise, I'm going to make it so that, again, for this character that we're creating, which is probably never going to be played, but in this world that we're creating, yeah, the Sacred Flame, the people, the tribe of the Sacred Flame are the only ones that sort of have this tradition of being a Chimerist, of being well, it could be a druidic kind of tradition, really. Okay, so permanently increase your maximum mind points by 5. All right, let me actually do that. So my mind points go from 55 to 60. And let's see, you may perform rituals whose effects fall within... Okay, so I do have access to ritualism, which is great. Okay, so Chimerist skills. So consume is probably the default one that you need. Which is, okay, so probably we would start with 2 things. Let's see. Because we're level 2. Actually, well, no, we haven't gotten to Orator. So right now we're level 2 Chimerist, level 3 Orator. So which 2 spells would we go? I want to say, not consume. I want to say that probably would be Spell Mimic, right? That seems like the most core one, right? When you see a creature belonging to the beast, monster, or plant species cast a spell, you may immediately choose to learn that spell as a Chimerist spell of your own. If you do, record the species of the creature you learned it from. When you first acquire this skill, choose Insight plus Willpower or Might plus Willpower. From now on, your offensive Chimerist spells will use the chosen attributes for the magic check, regardless of the attributes used by the creature you learned the spell from. Okay, so for our character, we would probably choose Insight plus Willpower, because that's D10 plus D8. And then so that's, yeah, and it makes sense for what we're doing. You may have up to skill level plus 2 different Chimerist spells memorized this way. If you want to memorize a new Chimerist spell but are already at your limit, you must forget one of your old spells and replace it with the new spell. Okay, that makes sense. So at level 1, we'd already have access to 3 Chimerist spells, and then we could buy it again, but I would rather than do that. Ooh, this is weird. When you deal damage to one or more creatures with one of your Chimerist spells, each of those creatures that share their species with the creature you originally learned that spell from suffers poisoned. Weird. You perform rituals whose effects fall within the Chimerism discipline. Okay, so I feel Feral Speech might be one. So Spell Mimic, definitely. Spell Mimic would be the primary power, that this primary skill that we use. And then I would decide between Feral Speech and Ritual Chimerism. Feral Speech, useful, especially with Beast, Monster, and Plant. Ritual Chimerism fits in with the sort of tradition, right, that we're kind of building here. But, okay, I'm going to say at level 2, Spell Mimic and Feral Speech. Ritual Chimerism you grow into. If we change our mind and go Chimerist 3, Orator 2, then I would pick Ritual Chimerism as a third one. But I think I'm going to leave Ritual Chimerism for an expansion, kind of. And pick up Spell Mimic to start with. And that's where we end. Okay, there's only that one page, because, again, now we would learn from... now we would have to look at the monsters and see what we need to. That's the one thing, like Blue Mage, right? It's like they're not going to have that. I mean, some games I've seen them have a Blue Mage specific spell list, but in this case, we'll have to look at the creatures later on and see what we've got. But okay, but that makes sense. That makes sense. So that's Chimerist, and I like it. Darkblade, not one of the characters we chose, but let's check them out real quick. Somber and powerful warriors who hide a sorrowful past. Due to tragic experiences on the battlefield or in personal life, their souls have developed an affinity for pain and shadow energy. An unlikely hero, to say the very least, a Darkblade may now sacrifice her life force to unleash mighty attacks and is able to draw resolve, power, and even knowledge from the suffering they experience. King Pine, I love me a good Darkblade. Let's see what we've got. What tragic experience awakened your abilities? Many would regard your powers as evil. How do you feel about them? What do your weapons and fighting style look like? And are there many practicing your art, or are you the exception? Darkblade free benefits: permanently increase your hit points by 5 and gain access to martial weapons and martial armor. Okay, so Agony. After you deal damage to one or more creatures, if you have a bond towards at least one of those creatures, you may recover hit points and mind points. I like it. Dark Blood. As long as you are in crisis, you have resistance to dark damage and poison damage. Useful. Heart of Darkness. Once per scene upon entering crisis, you may choose a specific creature you can see that you don't have a bond towards. If you do, create a bond of hatred towards that creature. Okay, so that's a little combo thing, right? Like you want to take okay, let's go through the rest of the powers first. This painful lesson: after another creature causes you to lose hit points with an attack, a spell, or any other method, you may immediately perform the study action on that creature for free. If you do, gain a bonus equal to skill level to your check. And study the same aspect of the creature only once. And then Shadow Strike. You have learned to channel your vital force into your attacks. You may use an action to perform Shadow Strike. You roll your current might die and lose an amount of hit points equal to the number rolled on your might dice. This then reduces your hit points to 0. You may perform a free attack with a weapon that you have equipped. If this attack hits one or more targets, it deals extra damage equal to skill level plus the number rolled on your might dice. However, all damage dealt by this attack becomes dark, and its damage type cannot be changed. Okay, so I'm thinking, here's the combo, right? Shadow Strike. Keep hitting with that until you enter Crisis. As soon as you enter Crisis, that triggers Heart of Darkness to create that bond to the creature. So now you're going at it with the, like, fuck you in particular, and then you start beating on that thing. And since now you have that bond, then Agony kicks in, and now every time you hit it, you're healing, you're feeling stronger. Yeah. I like that. I like that combo specifically. Shadow Strike, sorry, not Painful Lesson, Heart of Darkness, and then Agony. That's a decent combo. Darkblade is a very risk-reward style class, and I love it. Yeah, no, I like this. I like how that flows. All right, let's go for Elementalist. Also, Battle Mage, Geomancer, and Sorcerer. Ignore the warnings of this world at your own risk. An Elementalist has learned to channel the souls that flow within the basic elements of creation. Air, earth, fire, water. The four nations once lived in peace until everything changed when the Fire Angel attacked. Some of them develop complex spells to contain the powerful energies of nature. Others seek protection in harmony and communion. Elemental magic can be highly destructive, causing damage and inflicting negative status effects. Due to this, there are many who would covet an elementalist abilities, often for nefarious purposes. Who trained you in the way of the elements? Your magic can be devastating. Are you afraid of yourself? Elemental magic is often used in war. Did you serve the military? And what does your magic look like? Your free benefits: increase your maximum mind points by 5, perform rituals. Okay, so you have access to ritualism. Okay, let's look at their main skills. Cataclysm. When you cast an instantaneous spell, if you have an arcane weapon equipped, you may increase the spell's total MP cost by up to skill level times 10 mind points. If you do, and the spell deals damage to one or more creatures, it will deal 5 extra damage to each creature for every 10 mind points by which you increased its total MP cost. Okay. So you cast the spell. Let's say the spell costs 20 MP. I don't know how much spells normally cost. Let's say it costs 20 MP. And let's say you're an Elementalist. You have a lot of mind points. Maybe you have 60 MP, right? So at level 3 of this skill, level 1, sorry, of this skill, you would be able to increase that. It's basically per level, right? They're saying like per. Oh, sorry. They're saying. It's interesting wording, because I wonder if there's a reason to not increase the cost that much, because you only get the benefit for every 10 mind points. You see what I'm going for here? It says specifically, you may increase the spell's total MP cost by up to SL times 10. Okay, actually, no, I see what they're doing there. Because at first, like, there's no benefit to doing less. There's no benefit to increasing its cost by 19, for example. Because it's up to, so you can increase it to, technically you can increase it to 19 if you want, like just below, but there's no real benefit to you, just costs more. It's not until you tick to 10 that you get that extra 5 MP. But by making it up to, it means that for every level of Cataclysm, you can decide how much Cataclysm to put into it. Right? That's it. So you can go, like, if I have this skill at level 3, I can decide to pump 10, 20, or even 30 additional MP into that cost, dealing an extra 15 points of damage by doing that. So yeah, no, I dig that. I do like, again, this is one of those things that I like to see in character classes and games. Yeah, thanks, King Pine. I do like the concept and seeing mechanics in game that let you power up a little. Like, hey, is there some way, like sometimes you want to hit and you're like, can I do anything to like do more damage with this hit? Can I pump it up somehow? Like, and like in D&D, for example, not really. Like, that's not really an option. for the bulk of your abilities. You hit and you do the damage that you do. The only way to bulk it up is by whatever you have in your stats. Meanwhile, you've got something like DC-20. I haven't talked about DC-20 in a while in any one of these streams, but a big revelation. I'm okay. I like D&D as much as the next guy, but I really want to move beyond that eventually. And the system that I'm kind of hanging my hopes on to replace D&D someday, especially for me, is DC-20. If you haven't heard of it, look it up. It's still very early in development. It's still like in alpha mode. But one of the things that DC-20 does is they have this action point system, and you can kind of pump action points into specific actions. So you can like maybe swing your sword and that costs you 1 action points, but if you want to pump more into that, you can pump 2-3 action points in there. You might be able to like swing your sword multiple times, or like just make it a more powerful attack because you have a resource that you can pump in. So you can either do multiple things, or you can do really focus on one thing, and you can decide that round by round. I really like that flexibility. So seeing something like that here, even if it's just for the elementalists here, I do like that kind of mechanic. I do like that, hey, if I have the resources, let me do something more with them, right? And 5 damage is nothing to sneeze at. Yeah, no. Damage, like 5 damage that's a solid hit, right? It's not like, it's not in this system. Yeah, exactly. When you've got like, how many hit points did my character have? My character has 35 hit points, right? That's a good chunk of their thing on top of whatever. Let's see. Did I? Jesus Christ! Ground control. You froze again? No wonder I haven't seen chat in a while. Hey Himong, I just saw your chat. Sorry. I don't know if it's been there for like minutes or not. The app that I use to keep track of comments, I'm gonna restart it again for both YouTube and is ground control, and it sucks. It sucks. So hey Himong, if you're still on chat over on the YouTube, thanks so much for stopping by. I'm doing very well. And as always, thank you for the well wishes. Let's keep going. All right. Here we go. So categories. Okay. Any point is, I like that. I like that mechanic. I like seeing mechanics like this in games. Elemental magic. Each time you acquire the skill, learn 1 elementalist spell. See the next 2 pages. We'll see that in a minute. Offensive elemental spells use insight plus willpower for the magic check. Magical artillery. When you cast an offensive spell, if you have an arcane weapon equipped, you gain a bonus to your magic check equal to skill level times 2. Solid. Again, a way to power yourself up. It's very kind of glass cannon feeling, but yeah, that checks out. That's probably what you want with this kind of character class. Ritual elementalism. You perform rituals whose effects fall within the elementalism discipline. Makes perfect sense. And Spellblade. When you cast an offensive spell targeting a single creature, if the spell has a total mind point cost of SL10 or lower, and you have 1 or more bow, brawling, dagger, flail, spear, or sword weapons equipped, you may choose one of those weapons. If you do, your magic check for the spell will use the chosen weapon's accuracy check formula. For instance, the magic check for an elementalist spell cast through a bronze sword will be... Okay. So basically, it's just a way to channel spells that fall under this level through a weapon using your weapon stats instead of your insider willpower. So that one's very cool, but it's going to be very specialized, right? That's one that where like a sort of dedicated caster would probably not bother with Spellblade. But if you want that combo, if you want that Spellblade combo, so if you pick up like Elementalist and probably like something like Weapon Master, or maybe even like an Elementalist Darkblade could be interesting because you have that built-in Darkblade Shadow Strike that lets you do, turn your damage dark and whatnot. But you also would have the flexibility of an Elementalist to then channel through that big fuck off a dark blade. Like imagine, like they're fighting a dark blade, and you're like, ha ha ha, I will destroy you. I am resistant to dark. Ha ha ha, for I am the evil one. And the dark blade goes like, oh, cool. Sword goes on fire as they activate an elementalist like fire spell and channel it through their fucking sword and just hit you, right? Let's see. Let's catch up on chat. Magical artillery is only for your check, by the way, so it would be insight. Okay, wait. Yeah, for your check, guys. So it would be insight plus willpower plus 2 at first level for your spell, but it's still really good. Makes it to where it's really hard to miss. Yeah, no. Like a plus 2 is still a solid bonus to a roll in the way this system works. And with it's only one level. Right? No, it's multiple levels. Yeah, you can keep buying it, and it's cheap. So you can buy it a couple of times actually, and a few times, and all of a sudden, that's gonna bump up. It does not affect your high roll, so it does not affect your damage. Okay, so it's basically to hit. It's basically makes it really hard to miss. Doesn't necessarily increase your damage, unless I guess on top of that, if you have the magic points, pump Cataclysm into it, right? Okay, I like this. I like what they're doing here. Let's look at the spells real quick. Elemental Shroud. So protect people from damage type, elemental damage type, elemental weapon, imbue your weapon with elemental damage types. Flare, ray of fire, fulgur, weave electricity, wave of crackling, bolts of electricity. Well, with damage, okay, they're not fucking around with the damage either with these spells. I mean, they're not cheap. Flare is 20. 20 is a lot. Like even my character, if he was an elementalist with his 60 MP. Would only be able to cast 3 flares in a single fight. That said, that's a lot of damage, right? And it ignores resistances. Yo. Okay, so I see why it's that expensive. And then Fulgur, 10 per target. Glacies, okay, so frost damage. So I thought this was going to be fire damage, but it's not. It's just fuck you damage. Cool. Actually, wait. So it's the same thing with Iceberg. So, okay, okay, I'm kind of seeing the pattern here. The single target spells, the one creature, fire, ice, thunder, and wind. No, sorry, no. No. So wind doesn't seem to have. Well, it has a mass attack. It doesn't have a single person attack. But like the ones that are single target, one creature, ignore resistances. The ones that can target multiple targets, that it's proper elemental and resistances apply. That's a decent trade-off. I'm focusing all my elemental might on you. It doesn't matter that you're resistant to fire, and it's resistances, right? If somebody is immune to fire, that's a completely different thing. Although, didn't we read a rule? Was that an optional rule? Was that a thing that if an attack ignores resistance, but it's used on somebody who is immune, instead of immune, they're treated as resistant, right? Yeah, immune and absorb still take effect, but it ignores this. Am I just making that up? I feel like I read somewhere that stuff that ignores resistance used against someone that is immune, like absorb is absorb. Actually, I guess not. I don't know. I may have made that up. And I'm curious. Wait, let me scroll back up. Let me see. Where would this be? Okay, so it'll probably be around here. Status effects and damage types. Damage affinities. Okay. Some game effects may cause you to gain a variety of affinities. The character is both vulnerable and resistant. They are treated as having no affinity. Immunity on the head always... Okay. No, immunity supersedes both resistance and vulnerability, and absorption supersedes all their affinities. So no, I was making that up. I was clearly making that up. Good to know, but also just refresh my memory. So not 100% clear on that. No, that's not a thing. It's not a thing unless, there's an effect that specifically says that, which is maybe where the confusion is. I may have seen a specific skill or effect that did that, which would be a completely separate matter. But by default, rules as written, no. If you're immune, period. But that is still nice to know for the elementalist, that at least they can... Went too far. Here we go. If I focus all my power on you, then it doesn't matter that you're resistant to fire. This is magic fire. And I destroy you. But then the spread out ones, no, they're still like, since I'm spreading my power out more, it's not so concentrated, resistance would still take effect. I like that general mechanic. I feel like that's fair. I have no problem with that. The bulk of this is just different versions of... It's just doing damage with different flavors, basically. But it checks out. We do have a few small kind of utility spells, if you want to call it that, like Soaring Strike, but even then, like you move and then attack. So Soaring Strike is probably like a very good one for like a spell blade type. Then Ventus, Vortex, blowing arrows away, defense. Okay, so that's a defense one. But overall, as an elementalist, your focus is you're a damage dealer. You're a damage dealer over more than anything else. Entropist. Okay, I was real curious about the Entropist. Let's see. Astromancer, Chaos Mage, or Gambler. Okay, all of a sudden I'm even more interested. Again, not for my character right now, doesn't fit him, but for my personal interest as a player, I love luck-based characters. I love random chaos. Like it's like let me just roll on the table and we're going whatever comes up. But also I like luck manipulation as a set of powers and stuff. So let's see what they're doing here with this. I'm already seeing like a lucky number and whatnot over on the other page. So let's see. High above the stars, where their lights do not shine, lies a bottomless void, where life and souls and my people. Hi, look, say hi to everybody. Say hi to everybody. No, you're not saying hi to shit. Dad, why did you pick me up? You know I don't like it when you pick me up, Dad. I'm gonna leave now. Okay, there we go. You can just stay on the lab. You can just stay there. I can pet you. Let's see. Bottomless void, where life and souls wither and transform in unfathomable ways. This realm is a non-reality, an endless expanse of chaos, impervious to the laws of time, space, and probability. Entropists refer to this realm as the cosmos, the heavens, or quite literally... Oh, no, never mind. I thought I was going to... Let's see. Give me a second. Can I? No. I was going to see if I can cut over, but she's not playing my game. If you sit on this here, I can show you to the people. No, you don't want that? Okay, never mind. I'm trying to get my cat on the stream, but she's not cooperating. I mean, if I do this, what does it look like? Okay, that's my cat's back and butt, technically. It's just kind of sitting there. You see, sweetheart. Look. Follow the hand. No, follow the hand. Come on, follow the hand this way so people can see. Come on. I want people to come on. You are not cooperating. You are not cooperating at all. No, I'm trying. Oh, you can see her here, though. You can see her on this camera. I'd forgotten about that. You can see her there. All right, well, I mean, just the back of her head. Anyway, sorry, derailed, but just my cat is adorable, and you know, she's here. Anyway. Entropy. Okay, who taught you? Cat, I'm asking this question to you. Who taught you to channel the reality-bending powers of the cosmos? Can you explain that to me, Cat? No? All right, then answer this question. What do you know of the cosmos? Are they the end of reality or a new beginning? He's like, I know nothing, Father. I have 2 brain cells. What does your magic look like? And are there many practicing your art, or are you the exception? Okay. Entropist free benefits. You get extra mind points. You get ritualism. So let's see what our skills are. Absorb MP. After you suffer damage, you immediately recover skill level times 2 mind points. Okay. Yeah. I mean, useful. But also, do you want to take hits as a wizard type? Entropic magic. Each time you acquire the skill, learn 1 Entropist spell. We'll see them on the next page. Cat, no. Oh my god. Sorry, folks. She's kind of trying to get on top of my area here, and yeah, I'm sorry, Cat, but there's too many buttons that you could hit that would accidentally end the goddamn stream, and I can't take that risk. So, let's see. Catching up on chat real quick. Mental is the class for you if you just want to deal a ton of damage. Makes sense. I mean, you can always take Absorb MP as a martial character if you need mana. True. Yeah. Like just a quick dip into Entropist so you can get the Absorb MP power would be useful, right? Let's see. Entropic magic. Each time you acquire a skill, learn 1 Entropist spell. We'll see those in a moment. Insight and willpower for the magic check makes sense. Lucky 7. You have a lucky number. At the beginning of each session, that number is 7. Once per scene after you perform a check, you may replace the value shown on one of the dice you rolled with your lucky number, even if this would give an impossible result, such as a value of 7 on a d6. If you do, the replaced value becomes your new lucky number. Wait, once per scene after you after you perform a check, you may replace the value shown on one of the dice you rolled with your lucky number. Oh, okay, so that's cool, because that would be okay. Now I'm actually going to go to the overhead real quick. All right, so basically what we're seeing is, because generally we're rolling d6s in this game, right? You start with lucky number 7, and you roll your dice. You roll. Actually, no. We're rolling stats, right? So we're rolling let's roll our d10, a d10 and a d8, right? So here's a d10, here's a d8. Here we go. And so we're rolling. Is this coming through? Let me actually check the. Okay, cool. You can see what I'm doing here. It's very high up. Can we get it a little bit? Actually, can I lower the camera maybe a little? There we go. You can see. I need to watch these. Anyway, but now you get a better view of the dice. There we go. So d10, d8, you roll them, and that's not a bad result. That's an 11. That's probably a successful. Let's just roll again. I've discovered this problem. I'm a good roller. Okay, there we go. That's a relatively. We could do better. This is an 8, and let's say we needed a 10 or more to succeed on this roll. It was a standard difficulty. We can then at this point swap out our 7 that we had for one of these 4s. So whichever one, doesn't matter. 7, it's now 7, but now our lucky number is 4. So we succeeded on this roll, but now in the future we do it again, and that's not that great. Let me try again. That's good, but not one that would be helped. I'm trying to figure out a dice roll that would be helped by here. Oh no, that's actually a really good dice roll on its own. All right, let's force it. Let's say you have. There we go. This came up. That's an 8. You needed a 10. You're still away. But our lucky number is 4. We swap out that 4 for this 1. And now that's an 11. And hey, that's a success. But now our lucky number is only 1. Oh boy, suddenly it became a lot less useful. And so at some point, I do like that because then at some point you would have to kind of just like use that 1, maybe on a roll that would succeed anyway. Like you rolled like you rolled like a 10, you rolled a 16 on a roll that doesn't matter that you went over. It was difficulty 10, doesn't matter that much that you went over it. So in that case, that's a good chance to go like, you know what? Lucky number, swap this 6 out for a 1, still a success, still an 11. But now I've got a lucky 6 ready to go. That's an interesting little mechanic, and the Jesus Christ, I really do need to watch this. It's the cat. Cat, look at all this cat hair. Cat. Anyway, let's go back to the other one. I do like that. It's a fun little mechanic getting to play with the numbers. There's a little gambly aspect to it. That sounds like fun. I like that approach for the Lucky 7, how that's working. I actually do like that approach a lot. I love Lucky 7 as a skill. It's even fun as the GM. I can already tell it's fun. And then real quick, Ritual Entropism, rituals within the Entropism discipline, makes sense, something you can pick up. Stolen Time. During a conflict, you may use an action to interfere with the flow of time by spending up to skill level times 5 mind points. For every 5 mind points you spend this way, choose one option. One creature you can see suffers slow, or one creature you can see recovers from slow, or one creature you can see may immediately perform the equipment action for free, or choose one ally you can see who has yet to take a turn in this round. That ally may take a turn immediately after yours during this round. Each option can only be chosen one. Okay, so that's cool. So Stolen Time is basically a battle manipulation. It's this control. It's control. It's battlefield control. Slow people down, speed people up, give them extra actions. Cool. Very useful. This could turn a battle around when used intelligently, but at the same time, it's kind of subtle. I really like what they're doing with Entropist, and we're going to look at all the spells, but you know where I'm going with this. It's been an hour. And that means that we have to do ads. The last ad break of the show, though, I promise you that. So let's just go ahead, We'll be right back, and then we'll come back. We'll look at the entropy spells, and God's willing, go through the rest of the character classes as well. All right, bear with us. We'll be right back. I have to admit, I wonder what the ad breaks look like for the YouTube folks. Like, do they just see the communist memes? Do they get ads as well? I'm guessing not, right? The signal is only sent out to Twitch. I have no idea how. The one, surprising no one by the fact that I spend my afternoons doing a stream yelling semi-coherently about tabletop RPGs, not currently employed, right? So it makes me, I cut off the bulk of my subscriptions to stuff because, save money and all that. One of the few that I left was the sort of YouTube ad free, to get rid of ads thing. I watch too much YouTube to put up with the ads, so I have no idea what it looks like for people who watch like live streams on YouTube, like what the ad situation on those is. Hopefully it's not too terrible, but I have no idea what it's like. At least I have control, some level of control over it on Twitch. No idea what, if anything, is happening on the YouTube. Anyway, just to address Kingpan, it's amazing skill compression, but not overpowered. Yeah, I'm assuming you're talking about stolen time. Yes, agreed. Like, it's a utility thing in all sorts of ways. Like, lets you do a lot of different things with just one spell. but also like if you can spend multiple points to do multiple things at the same time as well. So it's pretty powerful. It is pretty powerful, but at the same time, like, yeah, this could turn a battle around, but it's not going to all on its own win a battle. So I think I like it. I like what they're doing here. I overall really dig the Entropist. Also, one thing I'm noticing with all these character classes is that they're like it's very they're very consistent, they're very focused, and it makes sense because of the system in this game where you basically have to multi-class. I think if you try to house rule somehow that you can just have a single class and just focus on that, you're going to kind of tap out on your abilities very quickly, and you're going to be unbalanced. Like, you'll be probably very good at this one thing, but not that great at almost everything else. Like, they're so focused that even if multi-classing wasn't encouraged or literally required, if it wasn't required, it would be encouraged based on how this works, is what I'm trying to say. Not a complaint. It's good design, especially for what they're trying to achieve. All right, let's look at the Entropist spells. And by the way, I lied earlier. I said that was the last ad break because I thought we've been going for longer. It's not. There will be one more ad break and then the last hour, and then we'll wrap up. Anyway, class are very focused. Yeah, exactly. They really are. Okay, so Entropist spells. Let's see what they can do. Again, I'm guessing there's less damage dealing and more like utility and management. Let's see if I'm right. Acceleration. Bend the fabric of time. The spell ends. The target gains the ability to perform a single additional action. So, yep, you got extra stuff. Utility, but also very useful in combat. Anomalies. This is a combat spell. Attack. You alter the very nature of your target until the spell ends. If the target would suffer damage from a type they absorb or are immune to, they are instead treated as they were vulnerable to damage. Oh, that's really useful. That's really useful, and it's for the entire scene. Yo, that's really useful. I mean, it's once, like it's one time, and then when that happens, the spell ends. It's expensive, but fighting against a big villain, right? Fighting against a boss that is like immune or even worse, absorbs like half the elements that your elementalist has, maybe all the elements that your elementalist has access to. You can use this to basically go like, no, now hit him now with this, and they'll be vulnerable to that. Yeah, it's cool. Again, it's supporty. It's I am getting very much Entropist is very much a support class from what I'm seeing. One thing that I would like to see would be some kind of expansion to Lucky 7. Like, I might even house rule that if an Entropist asked for it, to let you kind of like do that to other people's roles. Like, by default, Lucky 7 is free, but like if a player said like, hey, can I do something? Can I spend a Fabula point, or can I like use MP to use my Lucky 7 on like another party member's dice roll? I might allow that. Let's see. Anomaly is very powerful, especially the GM likes to make puzzle combats. Exactly. It'll let you break that puzzle. All right, so dark weapon. You imbue a weapon with dark energy until the spell ends. All damage dealt by the weapon because of the dark type. All right, it's good. Pretty basic. You set on the spell. You release a wave of negative energy and cleanse all magic from a creature. If the target is inflicted by one or more spells for the duration of scene, they are no longer affected by the spells. Instead, useful counter magic basically. Divination. You glimpse briefly into the future until the spell ends. After a creature you can see performs a check. If it was not a fumble nor a critical success, you may force that creature to re-roll both dice. Once you have forced 2 re-rolls this way, the spell ends. Oh, cool. Creature. So you can't use it on... No, wait, target self. That's interesting, because technically it is you glimpsing briefly into the future, but like the target is technically the creature that you can see, not And it can be multiple. It can be the same creature twice or two separate creatures before the spell ends. Still cool. I still like that you can basically like walk into a scene and go like divination. And I have that ready now. And then you just have these two opportunities before having to recast where you're going to be able to force some rerolls. That's useful. Again, it's just useful. It's a utility spell. It's very useful. Drain Spirit, very cheap. One creature. You consume a creature's psyche. The target loses high roll plus 15 mind points. Then you recover an amount of mind points equal to half the mind point loss or suffered. If the loss was reduced to 0 in some way, you recover none. Okay, so basically drain mind points. Solid. Michael Kursori was driving. No ads, just memes, or in my case, lo-fi soothing music. Hey, good. Thanks for the heads up, Michael. Glad to see you're still around. And yes, okay, cool. Yeah, I'm curious. I was just curious. Like, I have no idea how the YouTube side of this multi-streaming is weird. How the YouTube thing handles the ads. I feel bad because, like, the YouTube people shouldn't have to put up with that with the breaks. But you know what? The ad breaks also give me a chance to like refill water and stuff. They're once an hour. We can live with them. I wish I didn't have to do them, but oh well. All right, but no, I appreciate the heads up. Now at least I know. So all the more reason to keep the little meme carousel going, and also the soothing lo-fi music. All right, Drain Vigor is kind of like Drain Spirit. Target suffers HR plus 15 dark damage, and then you recover half that. That's okay. Very classic. JRPG magic. Okay, Gamble. Here we go. Here's an interesting spell. Oh, let's not hit the mic. Gamble. Magic points up to 20. Target is special. Duration instantaneous. Okay, here we go. A weird spell. You summon a vortex of chaotic energy. Roll your current willpower die once for every 10 mind points spent while casting the spell. So you would roll it either once or twice, really, because it's MP up to 20. Then keep the single die you prefer. The number on that die determines the effects of this spell. 1, you lose half your current hit points and half your current mind points. 2 to 3, each creature present on the scene, including yourself, suffers poisoned. 4 to 6, each creature present on the scene, including yourself, suffers slow. 7 to 8, choose up to 3 creatures you can see. Each of them recovers 50 hit points and also recovers from all status effects. Or 9 plus, choose any number of creatures you can see. Each of them suffers 30 damage. The damage type is determined by randomly rolling a d6 or air, bolt, fire. Cool. So Let's try that. Let's switch over to the overhead real quick. And so our willpower, I mean, we're not playing an Entropist, right? But let's say our willpower was 10. So get that D10. Let me lower, okay, so I can see it. Let me actually lower the camera again so y'all can actually see a little better. There we go. There we go. You know, I'm surprised how well this setup I have works for this sort of thing. Okay, so D10. And we spent 20 MP, so we can do this. So we can do this twice. Because if we roll it once, that's a 5, and a 5 would have been... each creature present on the scene, including yourself, suffers slow. Not the worst result, but it's everyone, party and enemy aside. So if we spent the 20 MP to roll twice, let me get another D10 out real quick. That's not a D10 at all. That's a D12. Give me another D10. Here you go. It's 2 D10s now. Okay, now you roll those 2 D10. You choose one of these two. You're probably going to choose 8. 8 is a hell of a good result. 8, choose up to 3 creatures. All of them recover 50 hit points and also recover from all status effects. That's cool, because 5 would have been the slow again. Let's try that again. Up 7 or 8. Again, choose that one, or otherwise it would have been everybody gets poisoned. Double 6s doesn't count as a success thing. That would normally be a opportunity, was it? No, critical. Yeah. So double 6s would mean everybody gets slow. I like that. I like that. I think. Oh, there we go. That's the good result. 0 or 9. Anything from 7 upwards is a good result. But okay, I like that. I think it feels like the kind of spell that you're almost always going to want to spend. I mean, even spending the 2, you might still get, like, I mean, those are both 4, 5. Yeah, those are both slow. But I think, yeah, 8 and 2. I think, that's a good one. I think you're probably going to want to, with that power, depending on how much risk you're willing to take, you're probably going to spend the full 20 MP every time you cast it to guarantee that at least you get a non-sucky result. Because as as we saw earlier, like, yeah, ones, two, especially ones, you don't want to get a 1. You really don't want to get a 1. Fail a roll to save a 10 plus as your lucky dice, then gamble. Oh! Would that be? Wait. Let's read the lucky 7. So we got that note over on the YouTube side for any Twitch watchers that don't think I'm just making shit up. So Michael over on YouTube says, fail a roll to save a 10 plus as your lucky die, then gamble. So let's say we did a let me do the overhead real quick again. So let's say we did a roll, a D10, D8. Right, and maybe we succeeded it, or maybe it was one of those, like, again, we got that 10 on the D10, so we succeeded because it was normal difficulty, and then we got like an, actually no, because then you would have to take this 10, right, instead of this 8. I mean, still no, but yeah, okay. So let's say, yeah, you did that. You know what? My lucky was, let's say we still had that 7. Now it's a 7. 8 plus 7, still a success. This is a good roll. Actually, we still didn't fail. It's a 15, but now I have that 10 stored. But let's see, the description of lucky 7. Once perceived after you perform a check, you may replace the value shown on the dice. The thing is, the capital C check means it is a check, like an insight plus willpower thing, not necessarily this where you're just rolling willpower. I think rules as written, I don't think you can do that. But I think rules as written, you can't do that, but I probably would allow you to do that if, basically convince me, like, right? Like, what if I spend more MP, or what if I spend a Fabula point, or what if I mean, it still is the same side effect, right? So then, or maybe I would say something like, okay, but since this is not the type of thing it normally applies to, you're kind of pushing your luck, rather than letting you do something like replace a 4 or something, whatever you replace, sorry, there we go, my headphones got caught snagged on something. Whatever you replace is going to, because you're using this in a non-standard way, your lucky number is now a 1. Just because that's how it is, because you're technically pushing your luck into something that it normally wouldn't be. So you still get the super good effect, right, that you wanted to get from your luck, but because you pushed it, I'm kind of giving you, like, there's a little bit of a trade-off. I think that's how I might handle it, because otherwise, rules as written, that would just be no, you can't do that. And personally, I mean, there's always going to be things that are going to be like, no, you can't do that. Like, if you say, like, can I jump to the moon? Like, probably not, right? But also convince me. Tell me how you're doing it. Like, at the end of the day, my default reaction to a lot of stuff in games is going to be, convince me. Let's make it make sense. I want you to be awesome. I want you to do the thing. The rules as written may say no, but let's see what we can do anyway. Either I can still give you this for the cost, or we can bend something, we can twist something, we can, let's make it make sense within the game. That's my approach to how I would do that, because I do really like that idea and that sort of strategic use of, like, maybe failing a roll to save a high number, and then being able to use that, even like you're cheating at gambling, basically. Like, thematically, I dig it. All right, let's go back here. But yeah, like I said, bummer that it doesn't work rules as written. But again, I would personally, let's make it work. That's my approach. Because I love the suggestion, Michael. I do. All right, let's move on. We got excited about the gambling. Twitch, please. We're talking about tabletop RPG. We're not talking about gambling for real. Don't send me to kick. All right, mirror. Let's see here. Mirror, 10 points. You twist the laws of magic until the spell ends. If an offensive spell is cast on the target, the creature who cast that offensive spell will be targeted. Okay, yeah, cool. That's a very classic JRPG sort of mirror, bounce it off. Omega, 20 MP. You invoke doom on your foe, turning strength into frailty. The target loses an amount of hit points equal to 20 plus half the target's level. So that sounds, I guess, yeah. It basically means the bigger they are, the harder they fall. So if you're fighting a level 20 foe, you would do 30 damage. You're fighting a level 40 points of foe, you would do 40 damage, and so forth. Um, I mean, that's a lot of damage still. 20 plus half the target's level. So it's gonna be, you're probably gonna be using something like this on like level 10 and higher creatures. I'd have to look at the creatures, right? I don't know what the creature breakdown is in terms of levels and stuff, but like it feels underpowered at first blush, but I'm pretty sure it probably isn't. And then stop. Trap your foe inside a circle of altered time and space. Target will perform one fewer action. Okay, so basically slow them down to a minimum of 0 actions. And then Umbra, a storm of dark energy turns matter into ash. Each target hit by the spell suffers HR plus 15 dark damage, 10 times target. Each target by the opportunity. Okay, if you get an opportunity, they also inflicts weak. So how I feel about the Entropist, I really like we've spent a lot of time on Entropist because they're really interesting. They've got some damage dealing stuff, but even their damage dealing stuff has side effects and has stuff. Their Drain Spirit and Drain Vigor could be very useful for various things. Gambling is fun. Lucky Numbers fun. Stolen Time is very flexible. A lot of their other spells, Anomaly, can be crazy useful for certain fights. Like, some of their stuff is very specialized situation kind of thing. Like, Anomaly is not something that you're probably going to be casting every combat, but when it's useful, oh boy, it's super useful. I really like Entropist. They're very interesting. All right, let's move on to the Fury. Also Berserker, Brawler, or Viking. I'll just have to become stronger than you. Furies never know when to quit. In battle and life, they are energetic, determined, and often restless. Whatever ideals or desires drive their actions, they will stop at nothing and risk everything in order to achieve them. Some Furies undergo a rigid training in order to control their emotions. Others simply see might as the solution to all problems and are constantly on the verge of letting rage get the best of them. Okay, so we've got a Barbarian, we've got a Berserker. Let's see how they work. The questions, of course, do you rely on your burning passion or do you strive to keep it under control? There's that one thing that always makes you lose it. What is it? In the past, your lack of control had tragic consequences. What have you lost? And what do your weapons and fighting style look like? You get to increase your hit points by 5, and martial melee weapons and martial armor is accessible. So let's see your skills. The Fury Adrenaline. As long as you are in crisis, you deal skill level ×2 extra damage, be it with attacks, spells, arcana, items, or any other method. Okay, so basically, Berserker, if you go under half your hit points, you start doing more damage. Very classic Berserker stuff. Frenzy. Your accuracy checks with Brawling, Dagger, Flail, and Thrown weapons trigger a critical success if both dice show the same number, and the check is not a fumble. That sounds less impressive, but it's actually not bad because it increases your chances of a critical success even if technically it wouldn't have been a hit, as long as it's not a fumble, right? So let's say you roll on a pair of 2s. That's not a fumble, but it's a total 4. That probably almost certainly would have been a miss. But if you have Frenzy, then that actually would have been a critical success instead of a miss. So it's the kind of thing that's not going to trigger very often, but when it triggers, it's going to be dope as fuck. It's just, you normally you get only success on double 6+. Exactly, right? It's like you still have to effectively succeed at the roll. Even technically, a double 5 would have been a 10 success for an average roll. Still technically would not have been a critical. You're correct. So this makes it so that double 2s, double 3s, double 4s, and double 5s become critical successes. So that's basically like 5 extra chances for a critical success. I would have to sit down and do some math Maybe go to like the dice. There's a website that helps you calculate dice probabilities. Because I'm curious, like, how much that actually increases the probability of those doubles. Like, what is the probability of double dice? Sorry, of double dice, the results of double dice. Because with 2d10s, so it's kind of, let's try and simplify. With 2d10s, you've got 100 potential results. And out of those 100, 10 of them are doubles. And by default, with a 6+ on doubles, only 5 of them are accessible to you. So by default, that means that your chance of a critical hit is normally 5%. You know, averaging out, right? Assuming you're rolling double d10s, most rolls are actually going to be less than that. So it's actually like kind of a semi-ideal. But let's just go with those numbers, right? So we're talking about a 5% or less chance for a critical hit on a default roll. If you have Fury, your chance goes up to not quite 10%. It would be technically... Folks, stop that. Sorry, somebody was honking outside. So technically, that would raise it up to, like, with 2d10s, a 9% instead of a 5%, because that one is still a fumble. So it's still that 1% chance of a fumble. Like, it's nice. It's useful. But the actual percentage increase chance, I mean, the good thing is it's a passive power. You're not spending points for this to activate or anything. It's just on all the time. Which, when it's on all the time, I mean, it still only applies to these specific combat roles, right? But it's not, from a mechanical standpoint, it's a little weak. It's a little weak. Like, the chances that you'll get those doubles, my math may be wrong, but I don't think it is. Just off the top of my head, back of the envelope math here, it feels a little weak, because it really only increases your chances of a critical hit by like 4%. I'd have to see it in action and practice to see how I feel about it. But like, if I had a player who had Frenzy and it starts working the way I think it starts, which is very rarely, and the player says like, hey, I'm dissatisfied with this, I might either A, let them change it out, or B, maybe house rule it to be a little bit more effective. Like, I don't want to be like Frenzy, because this is a passive run. It shouldn't be too crazy. It shouldn't increase your chance of critical hit to like 50% or anything like that. Hell, even a 20% is impressive, but it's limited to these specific ones. So like, Frenzy works better with other skills such as Lucky 7. Ah, King Pine, good point. Good point. Very well caught. Yes. Now we're talking. As soon as you start being able to manipulate, see, but by itself, yeah, it is a little weak. Okay, so I'm not completely off base on this. But also, yeah, like combine Fury, combine Frenzy with Lucky 7. You got a Furious Entropist. Also Furious Entropist, probably like, default Reddit username. Anyway, you've got a Furious Entropist who goes into the Frenzy era. And yeah, now there's interesting, because then, even if your lucky number is a low one, let's say you roll a 2 and a 6, that's a total of 8. That's not even 10. So whatever you were trying to do, probably a combat attack, brawling dagger, flail, or thrown weapons, right? It's a frenzy thing. It's combat specific. But here we go. Now you're doing a check. You rolled a 2 and a whatever. You missed. But my lucky number, because of previous actions, is a 2. So I swap out that 7 for that 2. Normally be like, why would I do that? Now I only have a 4. But Frenzy kicks in. Critical hit. Fuck your... it's... Yeah. I really like that. I had a person play a Fury Entropist, and it was very strong. Yes. No, that combo, all of a sudden, that's a good combo. That's a good... That's how you make it work. Yeah, because by itself, it is a little weak. By itself, it doesn't really increase your chances that much. I mean, that's not the worst. But knowing, okay, so knowing now that there are ways, I wonder if there are any other, and I think you mentioned this earlier, King Pine, you know, that part of the fun of this is finding those interactions and synergies between like the different skills. So I wonder if there are other skills that we might run into that would also like synergize with Frenzy, because definitely Lucky Number and Frenzy could synergize in some interesting ways. I'm just gonna keep saying synergize. It's a good word. All right, let's move on. Let me drink some water. Indomitable Spirit. When you spend one or more Fabula points, you get an additional benefit. Choose one option. You recover skill level times 5 hit points, or you recover skill level times 5 mind points, or you recover from a single status effect of your choice. Okay, that's a good one. That's good. That's straightforward. Gives you a way to be recovering constantly. Yeah, I like that one. I mean, it's solid utility. It's good stuff. I like that. Provoke. You may use an action spend 5 mind points to perform an opposed might plus willpower check against the creature you see. Describe how you taunt them. If you succeed, the target suffers enraged. Okay, this is again classic berserker kind of tank, like doom doom, focus on me kind of thing. They focus on you. You get a bonus equal to skill level to your might plus willpower check for this skill, making it more likely. Solid. And then Withstand. When you perform the guard action, if you choose not to provide cover to another creature, you recover hit points equal to skill level multiplied by the highest strength among your bonds. And choose might or willpower. You treat the chosen attribute as being 1 die size higher up to maximum d12 until the end of your turn. So if you're just guarding, not providing cover to another creature, just guarding on yourself, you'll recover hit points equal to skill level multiplied by the highest strength among your bonds. So if you have a level 3 bond and your skill level is 5, for example, which is a lot, you put all your points into Withstand for some reason, then you would basically recover 15 hit points, and either your might or willpower becomes probably d12 until the end of that turn. Okay, interesting. Not a huge bonus, because most people won't buy like 5 levels of Withstand, right? Because a level 2, and if you especially early, I mean, again, it's going to be weaker early on. So like with a level 2 bond and a level 2 Withstand, then you're just recovering 4 hit points, which is better than nothing, right? But so like Fury is, I like it overall what they're doing. It's very in theme, but it also feels a little, just a little weak by itself. But combined with other stuff, could work better. Especially with Adrenaline, once you kick that in, once you kind of go down. So now. Here's where the combos happen, right? So let's say you've got scrolling up here, Dark Blade, right? And now you've got multiple things that kick off in Crisis. So let's say you have your Dark Blade, a Furious Dark Blade would be kind of wild, right? Because you activate you activate Shadow Strike, you go into Crisis. Yeah, you're now in Crisis, so now you immediately point at the big bad and go like, fuck you, I have a bond of hatred against you now, which means that now Agony deals extra damage against them. So every time I hit them, not extra damage, every time I hit them, I'm recovering hit points, recovering mind points. Dangerous, because I don't want to lose my Crisis, right? But if I stay in Crisis, right? And then on top of all that, my Fury, my Adrenaline, also makes me do extra damage on that, in addition to like healing. Like all of this would stack basically. So then now we've got interesting stuff. All right, let me catch up on chat again. Indomitable Spirit is really good because the game already encourages you to constantly spend Fabula points with the way XP works. Yep, true. Like, Fabula points should be flowing across the table constantly. It's the vibe that I get. And Fury is weak by itself, but it's never going to be by itself. Is the thing. No, agreed. Like I said, instinctively, I'm looking at each class kind of solo, because that is how most games treat them. But sorry, I'm just kind of watching. Okay, I kind of see what's happening with the lights. Bear with me. But yeah, no, exactly. Like I said, instinctively when I look at this, like, old habits break hard, right? And so you kind of look at them as a solo class. But that's a quick reminder that like none of them is ever solo. You're always multi-classing at least two. And as you go up, probably a lot more over time. So yes, in combination with other stuff, Fury's all of a sudden, like it lets you, it's almost more of an enabler class. Like still, some of the other classes can kind of stand on their own. Entropist is so flexible that I could see Entropist almost standing on their own. Darkblade I could see like standing on their own. A Chimerist, depending on the types of powers and things that they get from the various creatures, I could see them standing on their own. An Arcanist, again, with the right set of Arcana, could sort of like cover and be fairly wide on their own. Like a lot of them could honestly work solo. They're not ideal solo, but they work solo. Fury is the first one that I've seen that, if you did it solo, feels straight up underpowered and not just super specialized. Like Elementalist. Oh, god damn it. Elementalist, which I went past, right? If you were to just specialize Elementalist only, then it's very glass cannon-y, right? You don't have a lot of utility, you don't have any healing, you don't have a lot of defense or anything. You do have Elemental Shroud, so you can give some resistance, but again, not really like you're a glass cannon. But if you just kill everybody before they can hit you because you do a lot of damage, you're still pretty effective on your own, right? Like Fury is the first one that I've seen that solo feels a little underpowered, and I haven't gotten that from any of the other classes. That's the thing. The other classes don't necessarily feel underpowered on their own. They might feel a little limited on their own because, they're so specialized and focused, but they don't feel underpowered. Fury feels a little underpowered, but, let me catch up. Headed into work. I'll catch up with the video later. Love Fabula Ultima. Been trying to get a game going for months. Michael, thanks so much for hanging out. Good luck. Hope your work goes well. Hope your workday, if you're still on chat, hope your workday goes very well. And if you're not on chat and you're catching this on the VOD after, hope your workday went amazingly. Thanks so much for hanging out. Really appreciate you on chat over there. I hope to see you again. I will be back, not tomorrow. Real quick for anybody expecting, I'll remind everybody at the end of the stream, but tomorrow there will be no stream. Normally, yes, Thursdays, just like today, 2 to 6. I'm looking at and yelling semi-coherently about titterpigs on the internets, 2 to 6. Tomorrow specifically, I have a previous engagement. I am doing session 0 for a paid D&D game that I am running, and so that's going to be my focus for the day. Also, I would have to leave earlier during the time that normally the stream would be happening to get there on time. So no stream tomorrow, unfortunately. But we will be back on Friday for our usual working on stuff stream. So we'll be back there. And I certainly hope, Michael, if you're watching on the VOD later, to see you back on that one. Or if not, next week, when next Tuesday would probably be the next time that we dive back into Fabula Ultima. Non-zero chance that I might do something over the weekend. But again, weekends are always up in the air. Anyway, let's come back into topic. Let's see, catching up on chat. King Pine says, I get what you mean about Fury. Despite what it seems like thematically, it is more of a self-buff, self-support class. Right. Like, thematically, you kind of want to feel like, oh, Berserker, Brawler, Viking. It's like, I'm a big damage dealer. And you do have, Adrenaline will let you do extra damage. You do have an ability that lets you do extra damage. But they are more, like you said, self-buff, self-support, and, a little bit tanky with the provoke and withstand and whatnot. But it is more of a tank and self-support and supporty class on its own than it is a damage dealer, which is fine. It's perfectly fine. But you do kind of have to keep that in mind, because the initial instinct would be for a Fury to be a damage dealer, and then a Guardian to be, right after, which we have here, be more of the tank. But the Fury kind of feels like it's like a little damage, a little tanky, a little self-buff. Like it's as I said, it feels a little weird. It strikes me as that compared to the other ones. It's not a bad class. This is definitely not bad. It just doesn't quite live up to the power fantasy that some of the other ones do. All right. Speaking of which, let's look at an actual, what I'm assuming is an actual tank, which is the Guardian, also known as Paladin, Soldier, or Jojinbo. Phoenix, have we seen a class that has a special bonus on a crit? I mean, we have the Fury that lets us have more crits. I didn't see anything, and I'm kind of surprised actually I didn't see anything with special crit effects on Entropist. Don't see anything like that on Elementalist, I don't think. Let's see, to make that powerful hit things class, you can combine Fury with Darkblade Weapon Master. Yes. That's a good combo. Listen, it's a mental shift, I think, that one has to do coming from other games, that in order to make the character that you want to make, you have to think about combinations. Again, multi-classing is required. So you have to think, like, what is my actual character like? Which is why, like, the examples seen here, seen here above, the classic characters, like, these are almost character classes on their own: Alchemist, Black Knight, Gambler, Monster Mage, Magic Technician, Ninja, but they're combinations of these various types here. So you really do have to think and approach of, like, what is the combo of classes that I want to make. I tried showing D&D friend, and that was one of the hardest things for her to wrap her head around. Yep. And Phoenix says, because Entropist plus Fury, you get more crits, and then something that makes the crit extra special would be fun. Requires some work, but yeah, no, exactly. Like, that's the thing. Like, finding those class combos is where the fun kind of is. I can see that. And again, even for me instinctively, like, I look at them and I'm going like, okay, well, but if I'm playing a Fury, why am I underpowered? It's like, the Fury is an aspect of your character. It's also going to have something else. Like I said, add Darkblade or Weapon Master to it. Add add the Entropist. Add stuff. So let's see, because there might be. I don't think we've seen in the other classes yet something that lets you do extra with crits. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything that lets you do anything extra with crits so far. But, we might see something in the other classes. And if not, that's an interesting, like, that's something we could try. Anyway, let's focus on the Guardian. Proud and selfless, Guardians are individuals who know the value of life and are willing to sacrifice themselves for a person, nation, or ideal they have sworn to protect. They are often extraordinary and impressive individuals, such as valiant soldiers or veterans scarred by 1,000 battles. While some Guardians may appear loud and boisterous, many are simply masking the tormented memory of those they failed to protect. So this is your sad boy class. Who or what is it you would gladly give your life to protect? Are you or have you ever been the servant of a lady or lord, and what were they like? What is it you were unable to protect? What have you lost? And what are you using as your armor and/or shield? You gain extra 5 hit points, and you get martial armor and martial shields. Chat here says, the thing about crits in the game is that you get an opportunity when you get a crit, and that already gives you a ton of options. Good point, King Pine. Actually, let's just refresh our memories. So it's here earlier on. Let's see, scenes, anatomy of character. We might have game rules, scenes, important anatomy of character. Where I think it's actually earlier here. Game master, the players, the game engine. No, it's later on. Wait, where is? Bear with me, folks. Bear with me, many. Where is the show sidebar? That's what I want. Here we go. Game rules, scenes, checks, critical successes. Okay, here we go. Critical success when both dice rolled in a check. So you get an opportunity, right? And the opportunities are this whole table of things. So you can, like, gain advantage. You basically get to the side. Again, some of these might not apply depending on what the actual check is, but you do have a lot of different opportunities. That's basically what a crit does. So, for example, that crit, that ability to do the entropy to create a crit that then triggers off of the Furies thing to basically give them a bonus, but also it's still technically it's a crit. It generates an opportunity. That's the check, not the damage. Right, because we're talking critical, but it's more critical success, not critical hit. So you still get your thing, you still get your, and if we kind of do the bar here, let's see, press start, character class, if we go down to Fury. So you got a critical success if both dice roll the same number, the check is not a fumble. Okay, so basically you would be able to trigger more criticals, which means you still do your damage, however it is, but also we would get to do an opportunity here, right? So we would do like maybe you get advantage, so +4 bonus, or you do a dazed, shaken, slow, or weak on the creature, which is going to be very useful. Or you can maybe create a bond towards them for later, because now you have those bonds. And now with the bonds, I think we saw that with Fury. Didn't Fury had something about bonds? No, the Dark Blade has stuff with bonds. So yeah. So again, you have a lot of flexibility. You have a lot of flexibility. The opportunity in addition to the exactly. So being able, so that's one thing that's easy to miss, right? The Fury again feels a little weak, but when you actually start being able to trigger the things it can do, all of a sudden it builds on top of it. Because now with a build between the Entropist and the Fury that lets you trigger more opportunities, now that's going to let you pull off a lot more stuff in combat. Again, those would be opportunities specifically for in combat, not necessarily for everything, but it's gonna give you more options in combat, more than it looks like. It's not just like, oh, you do a little more damage, right? So I like all that. That's a good approach. Let's go back to Guardian and actually check out their skills, and I'm gonna go ahead and hide all this stuff. All right, let's see. So what are the Guardian skills? Well, first one is Bodyguard. If you perform the guard action and choose to provide cover to another creature, kind of built into the game, that creature gains resistance to all damage types until the start of your next turn. Very useful actually. I like that one. Defensive Mastery can be picked up at multiple levels. As long as you have a shield or martial armor equipped, all damage you suffer is reduced by the skill level applied before damage affinity. So, bear with me. Cool. I like this. Pretty straightforward, but also it's not a lot, right? If at skill level 1, reduce any damage reduction is always, yes, always reduce damage. But that's one you probably want to pour points into, because every level is another point of damage, basically absorption. So yeah, so my friend Dave, who I've mentioned before on stream, he likes to play tanks, and he likes to like whatever, especially when he's in a system that he's not familiar with. He's told me this before. Like if it's my first time playing a system, I'm gonna play a tank, or I'm gonna look for what stat gives me more hit points, what stat gives me more damage resistance, what stat keeps me from getting killed. Because especially if I don't know this system yet, I want to be able to take punches, because I'm going to take punches. I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm going to get hit. So what will keep me alive until I manage to get good with the system? Therefore, usually his first choice when playing a new game is going to be some kind of tank, or some kind of high stamina, high defense, high whatever, which I get. Because as you know, if you haven't seen me mention my friend Dave in stream before, Dave rolls poorly. His characters get fucked. So I cannot blame him for taking that approach. All right, so dual shield bearer. I like this. Double shields. You may now equip a shield in your main hand slot. As long as you have 2 shields equipped, you gain the benefits of both items and may treat them as the following combined two-handed melee weapon. Weapon, twin shields. Accuracy is might plus might. High roll plus 5. Physical damage. So not a lot of damage. I'm very focused, very physical, might plus might, but deals extra damage equal to your skill level in defensive mastery above. So I'm assuming it's just equal. Yeah, it's equal to your skill level. So again, this is nice. So defensive mastery and dual shield bearer all of a sudden start proccing off each other, right? Like you have defensive mastery, it makes, and you have those 2 shields, you're absorbing a lot of damage, and then when you hit back with the shields, you're doing more damage because you're so good with the shields. That's a good combo right there. And doesn't even require like dual classing. It doesn't even require looking into the skills from other classes. It's built in, right? And as much as I like the combos that happen with other classes, I always like seeing the little combos that happen just within a class itself, and that's a cute one right there. Let's see. Dual shield bearer is so good. It can give you +4 defense and +4 magical defense. So you have 2 runic shields, which is really strong. Oh yeah, no, that's going to be a lot of defense. And runic shields are not that hard. Like, how much do they cost? We were looking at the equipment before. Wait. We saw that in the equipment list. I'm curious. Let's see how much. I mean, there are runic. Went too far. Went too far. Here we go. Come on, where? Let's look at the table of contents. Here we go. Show sidebar. Inventory points. No, equipment. Equipment is what I want to see. Equipment. Here we go. Basic weapons. Basic armor. Bronze shield. Runic shield. They're only 50 more. Okay, wait. But they're martial, right? But you're playing a guardian. You can use them. Not everybody can pick up a runic shield. But as a guardian, for 150 Zenny, and you start with 500. Yeah, double runic shields for the win. As a starting guardian, I'm picking up them shields. Like it's expensive. It's a total of 300, but it's not crazy expensive compared to like the other standard weapons and stuff. Like a broadaxe is 250 anyway. Like this is just 50 more, and you get to be super tanky. Yeah, that's not a bad deal at all. Then you get yourself some runic plate and just. I would be lying if I said I don't kind of love playing tanks myself too, honestly. Being able to just take a hit and keep going, big fan of that. Sorry about all the double letters. We need to clean. No worries. I know how that goes. I actually now clean my keyboards regularly because I kind of fell into the mechanical keyboard trap for a bit. So, you know what? Mini aside. I'm going to go into the overhead real quick. So I can kind of show you this. This is my current keyboard, Newfie Air 75. Very compact, very cute, and fully mechanical. The switches on this are custom switches, Wisteria switches that I've got in. I built it myself. Put it together myself. And then, luckily, and so, every now and then I take it apart, I clean it, I put it back together. Indulge the techno-lust little. But luckily, this kind of like fulfilled my my techno-lust for mechanical keyboards. I have been able to manage my desire to occasionally take my keyboard apart and put it back together like at the Switch level with just this one keyboard rather than making it become a full collection. I somehow managed to evade that trap. I indulged in the mechanical keyboard thing once, and that's it. This is the mechanical keyboard I have now. It's a good keyboard, by the way. It's a good keyboard. If you are in the market, they're not sponsored. Hashtag not sponsored. But if you're in the market for a good mechanical keyboard, the Newfie NUPHY keyboards, I've had nothing but good experiences with them. They're really solid. They're really good, and they're reasonably for what they are. Reasonably, not cheap, but reasonably priced. Back to it. Fortress. Permanently increase your maximum hit points by skill level ×3. More hit points. Yeah, it's couldn't get more straightforward than that. And then finally, Protect. When another creature is threatened by an attack spell or other danger, you may take their place. Any checks that are part of the danger will be performed against you. You may declare the use of the skill. You may declare the use of the skill before or after the checks have been made. If the danger already affected you, it affects you twice. Resolve both instances separately. You also cannot protect multiple creatures from the same danger. If you use a skill during conflict, you cannot use it again until the start of your next turn. Okay, yeah, so basically take the hit for somebody else. But I do like that you can wait until after the check has been made. So basically, the check is made against your party member, and they're trying to dodge. You don't have to say, I'm taking that hit until after they have rolled and presumably failed. Actually protect. I'm going to step in. I'm going to take that hit against them is what it sounds like, right? Let's see. Phoenix says, I kind of love the idea of a Fury Entropist with either a Guardian dip for some longevity or Shadow Blade to double down on that DPS. Right, Shadow Blade would be... you mean Dark Blade? Right? The dark... blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we're going up here. Oh, God damn it. God damn it. Come on. There we go. There we go. Dark Blade. Right. Yeah, there we go. I got confused for a second. Like, wait, is there a Shadow Blade? But yeah, no, Shadow Blade would be good for that because, sure, Guardian is good for longevity as well, but Shadow Blade, it's going to require a little bit more juggling because you have to activate. You have to have the right skills, of course. But, you have to activate. You probably want Agony, and you're going to be able to, like, get stuff back based on attacks rather than just have that raw resistance. So it's like you're going to be taking damage, and then you're going to be actively doing things to get it back, versus the Guardian, where it's just more about, like, you're going to take damage, but you're going to prevent the bulk of it, I think. Is kind of the difference in focus there. Dark Blade would also work well because you can use your crit to create a bond. Yes. Although a Dark Blade Guardian would also be, like, interesting as well. Like, being able to have all that, take all those hits. Because it's like, oh, yeah, no, and technically I'm at crisis level. I'm half my hit points. That's still, like, 60, would be impressive as well to watch. All right, now we're getting to the Lore Master, which I am excited about. So excited that I need to take a break. Is my excuse, but it's not really what's happening. It's been another hour. Time does fly, and that means it's ad time again. Let's go ahead and just get it out. This time for real, not a lie. Last and final ad break of the show, because after this is the last hour of the show. Then I'm going to be stopping at 6. Quick heads up. Probably not doing a Moonring stream tonight because I actually want to take the night to myself. I want to do some work on some editing work that I'm doing and a couple other things. I just, and also be able to just kind of like, end my night just watching some TV or whatever. So no gaming stream tonight. But we'll be right back after these ads, folks. Just bear with me. And we're back. Welcome back, everybody. All right, the last hour of the stream, we're going into Lore Master, and I see that Orator is up next, so we're going to want to pay attention to that one. We already kind of decided more or less what we wanted for the Chimerist. But I'm curious what we'll pick for Orator, since we've decided we're playing a Chimerist Orator. But first, let's look at the Lore Master, one that I may potentially pick up eventually as my character, as Bob, learns more about his people and their lore. Let's see, Lore Master, also Archivist. I'm not entirely sure how that word is pronounced in the real word. Anyway, just in case, Kingpine, you're probably long gone by now, but thanks so much for hanging out for the bulk of the stream. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day or evening, and definitely hope you're watching the VOD later and you catch up with this, so we'll see. Anyway, Lore Masters. I knew this was going to happen. Lore Masters are known for their insatiable curiosity and appetite for discovery. They firmly believe that knowledge equates to power, and would often trade all gold in the world for a chance at solving a good mystery. Unfortunately, a majority of Lore Masters tend to be aloof and easily distracted, rarely concerning themselves with pragmatic matters, to the point of sometimes failing to realize the darker implications of their discoveries. Who is or was your mentor? Who is or was your relationship with them? Did you attend an academy or college? What kind of people did you meet there? There is this centuries-old mystery you're obsessed with. What is it? Is it true that some things are better left buried beneath the sands of time? So you increase your mind points by 5. You don't get access to any kind of ritual or anything like that. What are our skills as a Lore Master? So I suspect this is going to be even more than the Fury, a class that does not stand on its own. Let's see if I am right about my guess. Lore Master skills. The first one is Flash of Insight, can be leveled up. When you roll a 13 or higher on a check performed to investigate a creature, item, or location, this includes using the study action during a conflict, you may ask the Game Master up to skill level questions concerning the subject of your investigation. You may ask these questions immediately or save them for later. Whenever you ask one of these questions, the Game Master will answer truthfully, and you will describe your character's deductive process. The skill may only be used once on the same creature, item, or location. Okay, that's cool. So every level, okay, so you can have multiple, the skill uses once, but you can have multiple questions as part of one single skill use if you have multiple levels of Flash of Insight. So this very much, again, I suspect they're all going to be just purely informational. Let's see. Focused increases your maximum bind points by a lot, by skill level times 3. So skill at 1, you would increase it by 3, at 2 by 6, at 9, etc., etc. When you perform an open check using Insight plus Insight, you gain a bonus equal to your skill level on that check. This only applies to open checks. What was an open check? Wait, let's go. Let's see what exactly an open check was, because it feels important. Let's see. Go up here. Checks. Open checks. Okay. So an open check, this particular kind of attribute check has no difficulty level. Instead, the result okay, so this is the kind of open check where, like, studying an ancient painting means you're matching information. It's the kind where, like, there's no set difficulty. It's just the higher you roll, the better your result, and it's going to be a lot for, like, studying and lore and stuff like that. Often used when researching information, examining an area, recall. Okay, so I mean, that is technically a restriction in the fact that the Lore Master can only do that on quote-unquote open checks. But at the same time, for a Lore Master, that's their jam, right? That's what they're going to be doing, open checks for lore and research and stuff like that. That's their jam. So checks out. Let's see. Knowledge is power. When you perform an accuracy check, you may replace one of the attribute dice with insight, just insight for a pistol or insight plus might for a war axe. Oh, well. Okay, so again, it's not that powerful on its own, but it makes your character a lot more flexible if you combine something else with Lore Master. Now you have a way to, like, my insight is still very high, and you know, maybe I'm not that physically capable as a dedicated, say, gunslinger or war master or whatever, but knowledge is power. I can replace my weak stat with insight, and insight is probably going to be one of my bigger, if not my biggest stat as a lore master. So it's a way to balance out a little the fact that lore master is technically weak, quote unquote weak. You know, I hesitate to use that word, but it is technically, right. It doesn't have a lot of attack on its own, but and if you're already playing a combat-y character, picking up lore master, especially early on, might feel like, oh man, I had to sacrifice a little. Either I'm just not a very good lore master, or I'm not as good a warrior as I could be, which, you know, compromise, right? Makes sense. But that knowledge is power thing is a way to kind of counteract that, sounds like, which I like. Quick assessment can be leveled up. At the start of a conflict, you may spend up to skill level times 5 mind points. For every 5 mind points you spend this way, choose one option. Choose a creature you can see and the GM reveals one of their traits. Or name a damage type and choose a creature you can see and the GM reveals that creature's affinity towards that damage type. Okay. Useful, not super expensive. And it's knowledge. The kind of thing, like, once you know, that's valuable information that you can use in combat, right? Train memory. You may perfectly recall the details of any scene you have visited within the past week. You can go back in time within your mind in order to examine and investigate such scenes again. Your Flash of Insight skill will apply to these memories as well. Okay, that's actually very cool. Train memory plus Flash of Insight combined. Because then that basically gives you the combo there, the single class combo with Train Memory and Flash of Insight is basically, fuck you, GM. I don't have to pay attention. That's what it boils down to. It is the combo of skills. It is the ADHD player's most ideal combo of skills, and it's going to make your GM hate you. But it is basically, hey, wait. Can I ask some questions about, you know, that NPC that we met 3 sessions ago? No, you are halfway across the continent. You're no longer looking. You should have asked these questions, your Flash of Insight questions, you know, when you were there and you could do the study action. But GM, you see, fuck you, because I have trained memory, and I go into my goddamn mind palace and I see exactly what happened. I recall everything, all the details. So I'm gonna study that memory. It's like, oh, god damn it, yes, okay, now your Flash of Insight would apply, right? And also, as the GM, now I have to remember. Instead of you, the player, I, the GM, have to remember what the hell happened 3 sessions ago with that NPC. I love the combo. I will tell you, any of my players that take that at the table, you're gonna get it. You're gonna get the squint eye from me. But valid, very, very valid choice. I like it. Hey, orator, also ambassador, diplomat, or entertainer. Let's see what we've got for a young king of the sacred flame, Bob. Words are only as good as the actions that follow them. Some are graceful and ever smiling, others are subtle and witty. Orators are as good at reading someone's heart as they are at rounding up allies for their cause, sometimes unintentionally. The words of an orator may rekindle spirits or plunge their opponents into despair. Over the centuries, some orators' talents have brought entire nations to ruin, and just as many have granted fallen kingdoms a chance to rise from their very ashes. Hello, my character just perked up. All right. Do you think everyone can be persuaded? Is that true? Is it true that everyone has a price? You thought someone was on your side, but they betrayed you. Who are they? How do you feel about manipulating people, even if it is for a good cause? In the past, your words ended up putting you in trouble. What happened? Good questions, flavorful questions. You increase your mind points by 5. Cool. And then your skills. Okay, so all of them except the base one are levelable. So let's actually go with the last one first because it's the one that doesn't bump up by level. Unexpected ally. You may use an action and spend 1 Fabula point to choose a non-hostile creature able to hear and understand you. If you do, that creature becomes helpful towards you so long as you are kind and respectful to them and your requests are reasonable. Cool. I like that. Instant ally. Spend a Fabula point. Don't be a dick. Get a lizard person to fight with you or whatever, or assist you. Okay, and then back to the top. Condemn. Levelable. You may use an action and spend 5 mind points to perform an opposed insight plus willpower check against a creature that can hear and understand you. Describe your accusations. If you succeed, the target loses skill level times 10 mind points and suffers dazed or shaken. Your choice. You gain a bonus equal to skill level to your insight plus willpower checks for this for this skill. So this is kind of like a little bit like cutting words from like D&D. I mean, you're not doing damage, but you are like taking some of their mind points. And dazed or shaken, again, status effects are very useful, very effective in this game. So I like that. I like that. Basically, you accuse somebody, you condemn somebody. Again, creature can hear and understand you, right? So if you're condemning your cat can hear you, cannot understand you, will not give a fuck, right? But against intelligent enemies, very useful. Encourage. Levelable. During a conflict, you may use an action and spend 5 mind points to choose another creature that can hear and understand you. The creature. So this is very much a buff and support class. That creature recovers skill level times 5 hit points and chooses dexterity, insight, might, or willpower. They treat that chosen attribute as being 1 die size higher. Oh, that's really useful and cheap. Like. Yeah, for 5 mind points, like every round, I'm gonna encourage the whole party. I'm just gonna go back and forth encouraging because I'm constantly healing, especially if I bump some levels into this. Like I'm feeling 5, 10, 15 hit points at a time. Doesn't really cost me anything. I can just keep, it cost me 5 mind points, yes, but I probably have a lot. I'm recovering hit points and buffing people. That's really powerful. My trust in you. Levelable again. After another player character who is able to hear you performs a check, you may spend 1 Fabula point and invoke one of their traits or bonds in order to let them re-roll dice or improve the result of the check following the normal rules. Then if you have a bond towards a character, they recover SL times 10 mind points. Okay, useful. I like that. Normally, you can't spend a Fabula point on somebody else's roll, but if you have this ability, you basically spend your fate point to let them trigger their own traits or bonds for the reroll, and assuming you have a bond again with them, which you probably will if they're in your party, they also recover some MP. Very, again, powerful. Like these orator skills are, you're not doing damage in battle, right? These are kind of like some of the Entropist stuff where like it might turn a battle around. It won't kill it on its own, it won't beat it on its own, but it might make, especially encourage is a way to keep your party going. Persuasive, finally, when you successfully perform a check to fill or erase sections of a clock, if your approach relied on charm, diplomacy, deception, or intimidation, you may spend up to skill level times 20 mind points. If you do, fill or erase an additional section of the clock for every 20 mind points you spend this way. Oh, that can be crazy powerful. Like, very costly. Skill level times 20. You have to level up the skill. The skill's cheap to level up. But being able to fill up, let's say you have this at level 3 and you're willing to spend 60 mind points, being able to effectively fill up not 1 but 4 sections of a clock, like, that's potentially game breaking. Not game breaking, but like it's really powerful. Costly, yes, and you have to have leveled it up. But even at level 1, just being able to fill up like 2 clock slots for an extra 20 mind points assuming you did, charm, diplomacy, deception, intimidation. And it's not going to apply to all clocks, right? There are clocks you can't charm a lock. You can't use diplomacy on a wall. But for those where you can use it, very powerful. But also at the same time, I like it. You are an orator. You should be good at what you're good at. If the orator steps forward and pours on the charm, pours on the diplomacy, and does the thing, and you've got a clock going that's specifically about convincing the king of a potentially hostile kingdom to come to the negotiating table, something like that, for example. Yeah, it makes sense that the orator would be able to do more with that clock, to push that clock further along than somebody else who just, did a favor for that king and therefore managed to fill up the clock a little bit more, right? It makes sense. I like it. Very powerful. Yeah, okay, so I really like this for our character, orator and chimerist, right, is what we've got. So these are really cool. Makes the character kind of like, yeah, it's like the kingly sort of quote-unquote virtues of this are good. The flavor of it, I like it for the kind of character we have. So which 3 skills would we pick? Because again, let's go back up to Chimerist real quick. For Chimerist, right, we are picking up Spell Mimic, and we're picking up Feral Speech. Those are the first 2. And if we had gone with 3 levels in Chimerist, we might have chosen also Ritual Chimerism, but if not, we'll pick that up later, right? But Spell Mimic and Feral Speech are the 2 that we're taking there. So what are we taking for our orator side? I'm thinking we're taking maybe not Condemn. Condemn is not I think my character's first option. Encourage, definitely. So Encourage is one of the 2 that we're taking, no doubt. But then the second one, maybe my Trusting You, maybe Persuasive. Unexpected Ally is also a good one and might be a good fit for the kingly type of character that people just, by spending a Fabula, and it cost me a Fabula point, but story-wise, it might basically mean that people kind of like feel drawn to this king, like they're in it, kingliness, if you will, inspires and encourages others to kind of stand by their side, fight with them, come to their aid, stuff like that, in a way that maybe they might not do for other people. So, okay, here's how I would do it. I think I would pick up Encourage and Unexpected Ally as my first 2. And I'm picking up 3. Encourage, Unexpected Ally. And then the third one, either my Trusting You or Persuasive. Ooh, I think I would go with a level in Persuasive first. So I think it would depend on how the game starts. If we are establishing that the game, the group, the characters that Bob is with, we've been with them for a while and have solid established bonds with them, then I would take my Trusting You instead of Persuasive. If it's kind of like we're kind of picking up having just gotten the party together, and I'm sure I'll have my bonds anyway, but it's been a very short time, then maybe I would actually pick up Persuasive first and then save my Trusting You for an advance later to represent that growing bond with the rest of the party. I think it's the approach that I would take there. But yeah, I really like the Orator. I like what they do. Again, it's another one of those character classes that on its own, I mean, powerful, but very specialized, very focused, and less useful outside of combat, especially and almost useless solo, especially in combat, right? But this is good stuff. This is good stuff, especially combined with Chimerist. I'm excited. I think that's probably gonna have to be a thing for tomorrow. We're already like bearing down on the last half hour of the show, the stream. So I don't know if we're gonna get a chance. We still have a few character classes to go through, and I know how long I take on things. So I think we're probably not going to see the kinds of creature features that we can, not the official name, but that's what I'm going to call them, creature features, that our chimeras can pick up until next week, most likely. But okay, I like what we're doing here. So let's look at the rogue, bandit, ninja, or thief. I will find my own justice. Be they criminals, rebels, or spies. Also, look, let's be clear. I love the art. I love all the art so far. All the characters are great. I have no problem with any of the art here. It's very classic JRPG. Like, I could see all of these character classes, this exact character art, especially this one, and this one. Honestly, all of them. I could see all of these artworks on the, on the rule book or on the cover of a JRPG, of a classic like JRPG. They all fit the theme beautifully, and I love them. The rogue in specific looks like she would be very mean to me, and that's my type. So I appreciate the rogue. Be they criminals, rebels, or spies, rogues are more than willing to play dirty in order to get what they want. Rogues are generally quick, witty, and elusive, while a few of them are infamous for being mostly concerned with their personal wealth and profit. Many see themselves as fighting against injustice, tyranny, or social exclusion. Tragically, it is quite common for rogues to end up being painted as threats by those same people they fight for. Questions for the rogue: what drives you? Is it desire, vengeance, or a burning need for freedom? Are you part of a criminal gang or guild, or do you work on your own? Is there a place you call home, or is it true that, in the end, we all die alone? What is the most important rule in your personal code? So the rogue is the first one we've seen that gets a bonus to their inventory points. They get 2 extra inventory points, bringing them up from the default 6 to 8. Now let's look at the rogue skills. I like the rogues get, they have more gadgets, very flavorful. Yeah, of course the rogue has like hidden pockets and bags and things that they can keep more stuff in. So rogue skills. Cheap shot. When you hit a creature with an attack, if the attack only targeted that creature and they are suffering from one or more status effects, you may have it deal extra damage equal to the skill level plus the number of status effects on the creature. Okay, so that's definitely a combo skill, right? And I don't see... Yeah, so the rogue by itself doesn't have any way built in to impose status effects on a creature outside of presumably using tools and weapons, right? So like poison vials, flaming swords, flaming knives, whatever you're using that would inflict some, or maybe you got an opportunity, right? You got an opportunity because of a good roll and you inflicted the shaken or bleeding or whatever. You inflicted a status effect, right? But it's limited ability to inflict status effects on your own. So this cheap shot particularly applies when you've got something like the maybe the Entropist or maybe the Elementalist or any other class that can apply status effects to creatures, is going to pair very well with that, right? Because then that lets you do a lot of extra damage. Not a lot. No decent skill level. So you have a couple levels in this. Like by default, like if your skill level is 1, they have 1 status effect. That's still 2 extra damage, but it's free. Like once, like it just happens. Like you don't have to spend anything to make that happen. So solid there. Dodge. As long as you have no shields and no martial armor, your defense score is increased by the skill level. Again, solid. It's a way to move light, not have to wear heavy armor, not have to wear shields or whatever, because you value mobility. But still, you are squirrely, hard to hit. You have that dodge, and you can level that up. Useful. high speed. At the start of conflict, you may spend 10 mind points. If you do, choose one option and apply it before the start of the first round. Perform a free attack with a weapon you have equipped, or perform a hinder or objective action. You also get a bonus equal to your skill level to all checks you perform as part of the chosen option. So high speed is effectively your sneak attack, right? Because given the JRPG nature of combat in this, right, there's really no like hiding and taking cover and stuff. So this is like the closest thing, I guess. Let's basically spend 10 mind points, you get a free action at the beginning, a free extra thing. I dig it overall, and you're better at it with the skill level that you've invested. Solid. See you later. You may use an action and spend 1 Fabula point to vanish from the current scene, reappearing wherever you want during a different scene in which another player character is present. Describe how you escaped and miraculously got here. Okay, that's just kind of, that's a little bit of a troll power, but I'll allow it. I like it. You know, like, oh shit, things are going bad. Poof. You know, smoke cloud, pocket sand, and then you show up a scene later. He's like, oh hey, it's caught up. Yeah, no, I mean, it's a good use of Fabula point. I like it. I dig it. I allow it. I like it. And finally, Soul Steal. You may use an action to perform a Dex plus Willpower check against the magic defense of a creature you can see. If you succeed on target as a soldier, you recover skill level inventory points. If they are an elite or champion, the GM gives you the target's soul treasure, an item worth an amount of zenith equal to or lower than target's level multiplied by 30 or 50 if they are a villain. This soul treasure will appear inside your backpack. A creature can be successfully stolen from this skill only once. You gain a bonus to your skill equal to your skill level to your Dex willpower checks for this skill. Okay, good. I was about to say that for a rogue character, I haven't seen any skills that allow you, I haven't seen the steal skill, which is one that I always want to love in JRPGs. Like, I always, like, whenever I have a rogue and they have that little steal thing, I always want to use it. And not every game is good at it. Some games are like, it's a waste. It always misses. You did no damage. You just wasted the rogue's turn over and over. What game am I thinking of that did it well? I think it was Metaphor Refantasio. I think, don't quote me on that, but I vaguely remember playing Metaphor Refantasio and using the steal command. I don't remember which of my characters had steal. Maybe it was like the little bat guy. And finding that it worked a lot of the time. Maybe I wasn't stealing like soul treasures all the time, although occasionally I did get some really good ones. But it worked more often than not. I got stuff, it's just like a little potion or something. I feel like I was getting stuff from that heal skill, which is better than I've gotten like in a lot of other games. I like Final Fantasy games. I feel maybe I just have bad luck. Maybe I just have bad RNG. But my experience with using like the steal skill in Final Fantasy games has been a disappointment because it rarely seems to work. And then, if it doesn't do anything, I just wasted my turn. This, I like that basically, like, you still have to do a check, right? Dex plus willpower, but you get bonuses based on your skill level. And then you get either inventory points, which are useful, or like this soul treasure, which means good money for later. But it works. If you make the roll, you succeed, you get a thing. Yes. Sharpshooter / archer, gunslinger, or sniper. We finally got here. I'm nervous. I'm gonna take a drink of water. Let's prepare ourselves. Let's prepare ourselves physically, mentally, emotionally to look at the sharpshooter. Again, I've said it before a few times. I've been hurt, and I'm scared. Let's go. Flee to the other end of the world. My arrow shall find you. A majority of sharpshooters are exceptionally good at dealing with threats from a carefully calculated distance. Others are brave, skilled, or reckless enough to engage their foes at point blank. While many of these skilled snipers are battle-hardened soldiers, some have turned to a life of piracy, bounty hunting, or banditry. A few have put their abilities at the service of the people, or used them to protect the sacred or forbidden site from intruders. Your questions are: some believe arrows and bullets to be a coward's weapons. What's your opinion? When caught unprepared, do you improvise or do you retreat? Are you quiet and reserved, confident and cunning, or boisterous, and reckless. And finally, what do your weapons and fighting style look like? You get extra hit points, 5, and you get the ability to equip martial ranged weapons and martial shields. All right, let's look at the skills. Skill 1. Skill 1, Barrage. When you perform a ranged attack, you may spend 10 mind points to choose one option. The attack gains multi 2, or you increase the attack's multi-property by 1 up to a maximum of multi 3. Cool. Yeah, multi-targets by spend 10 mind points, hit an extra target. Up to a maximum of 3. Crossfire. After a creature you see performs a ranged attack, you may spend an amount of mind points equal to the total result of their accuracy check in order to have the attack fail automatically against all targets. You can only use this skill if you have a ranged weapon equipped and has no effect if the accuracy check was a critical success. Okay, that's very cool. Like, sure, critical success is a critical success. But otherwise, it's a fuck you to the range to the other ranged enemies. Like, they're trying to fire to shoot at your guys. It does cost you mind points, right? And so that means it's probably gonna cost you at least 10 mind points whenever they do a successful check. On average, at least 10 mind points. But it's a 10 mind points that you spend, and nope, denied, missed. If they get a good one, it costs you more. It's harder. It costs you more to cancel out a more more serious attack. Makes sense, but still, I like that. I like that ability to kind of like shut down and deny the enemy. Hawkeye can be leveled. When you perform the guard action, if you choose not to provide cover to another creature, you may choose one option. The next ranged attack you perform before the end of the current scene will deal skill level ×2 extra damage, or you may immediately perform a free attack with a bow or firearm you haven't equipped, treating your high roll as 0 when calculating the damage dealt by this attack. Okay. I'm getting it now. Because you are guarding. At the end of the day, that's your action. You've guarded. So two things could happen. Either you're guarding, and I guess you're effectively aiming during that time, so that when the next range attack you do will get a damage bonus. Or technically you are still guarding, but you also get to make an attack. You're not going to do a lot of damage, probably going to be a cleansing one, because you're going to do 0 plus your bow's damage, which if we go up to, let's look at the, okay, here we go, bows, or rather distance weapons, let's see. So firearm would be, it would be 8 points of damage that you're doing, because his high roll is 0. So a pistol would be 8 points, which is still not bad. A Hawkeye attack with a pistol means you're still guarding, so you're protected against damage, but you still did 8 points of damage, especially against an unarmed thing. That's still good. That's still surprisingly good. And same thing with crossbow. Yeah, like all the distance ones here. That's basic. It's 8. That's not bad, actually. Like 8 points of damage. Sure, you could do much better with a normal shot, but in a pinch, if you as a sharpshooter are needing to guard, for whatever reason, having high speed handy would be very useful. See you later. You mean yeah? Okay, so we already saw that. In Soul Steel, I like. Wait, no, sorry. I was looking at the wrong character. Sorry. Sharpshooter, Hawkeye. Here we go. Yeah. Okay, ranged weapon mastery. This is similar to some of the other weapon masteries. You gain a bonus equal to all accuracy checks with ranged weapons. Makes perfect sense. Finally, warning shot. When you hit one or more targets with a ranged attack that would deal damage, you may have the attack deal no damage. Sorry, Rose. If you do, choose one option. Inflict shaken on each target hit by the attack, or inflict slow on each target hit by the attack, or each target hit by the attack loses SL times 10 mind points. Describe your maneuver. I like that. I like it. It's not just damage. You also have an ability to put on status effects, which is really useful. I mean, that could synergize with the rogue in your party, right? You fire a warning shot, and then the rogue comes in with with cheap shot from behind. Yeah, good stuff there. Okay, yeah, sharpshooter. So I was afraid of sharpshooter, but honestly, this is good. This is what I want to see. A sharpshooter, a gunslinger, a sniper that is good at the sharpshooting, gunslinging, snipering stuff. Is it so much to ask? And here it is. This is solid. Everything here is solid. Crossfire gives you a way to kind of like duel it out and counteract ranged enemies on the other side. Hawkeye gives you a lot of flexibility. Ranged weapon mastery, just, you know, general all around, you know, makes it more like the you'll hit. Warning shot lets you get creative. Yeah, all of this is good stuff. Big fan of the sharpshooter. In fact, considering how many sort of gunslingers and sharpshooters and snipers we've seen that have made me sad, this one definitely gets a root. So good. Big fan of that. Excellent. Well done. Well done, Fabula Ultima. Let's hit the spirits. Is this the last one? Who do we have left? No, we still have the Tinkerer and the Wayfarer and the all right. Wow, we might actually not finish this. We're almost done. I think, yeah, I'm almost out of time. So I think I did start the stream a little bit late, but I still want to finish by 6. Just because I wanna take a break. I've been yelling loudly for like the better part of 4 hours, and I want to rest my throat a little. So I think we're gonna finish up with the Spiritist if we can in the next couple of minutes. I don't even know if we have enough time. Yeah, we'll have enough time. Let's go. We might not have enough time for all the spells, but this is one of the ones that we were potentially gonna choose. So, Spiritist, Healer, Priest, or Witch, show me the truths of your heart. Spiritists have developed a powerful connection with the raw aspects of the soul, emotion, energy, life, death. They wield power both miraculous and frightening and are quite often affiliated with cults or religions. Several worlds see the powers of Spiritism as gifts from a deity, or proof that a person's heart is pure. However, there is no definite proof of these abilities coming from anything but discipline, empathy, and focus. Questions. Where does your magic come from? What are your beliefs concerning life and death? How do you feel about manipulating other people's emotions and vital energy? What do you think of religion? Are you part of a specific cult, church, or institution? And what does your magic look like? Spiritist free benefits, you get mind points by 5, and you can do rituals. So, all right, so the skills. Healing power. Levelable. When you cast a spell that targets one or more allies, if you have an arcane weapon equipped, you may have each of those allies recover an amount of hit points equal to your skill level multiplied by the number of bonds you have. So the more bonds you have, the more healing. The healing is separate from any healing caused by the results of this spell. Nice. So basically, this is a way to like basically all your spells, as long as you're carrying an arcane weapon, right? But basically all your spells that you would cast on your allies are also healing spells. That's good. That's very good. It's basically free healing from stuff that I was going to do anyway. Rituals, okay, perform rituals whose effects fall within the Spiritist discipline. Checks out. Spiritual magic, that's where we're going to select the spells that we want to cast as Spiritist. Insight plus willpower. Support magic. When you cast a spell that targets one or more allies, if you have an arcane weapon equipped, you may choose one of those allies you have a bond towards. If you do, that ally gains a bonus to the next check they perform during the current scene. This bonus is equal to the strength of your bond towards them. Cool. So that's actually, so that would probably stack with like something like healing power. Like if I have a support magic, so this is a solid support class, right? We'll look at their spells in a second. But like support magic here, and if you have support magic and healing power, then anytime I'm casting any kind of like allies, and especially again if I have bonds towards my allies, but I probably do, then not only are they getting free healing, they're also getting a bonus to their next check based on the strength of their boss. So a +1, +2, or +3 bonus or spell check. Both of those things for effectively free, in addition to whatever the effect of the spell that I am casting on them is. Cool. And finally, Vis Magus. When you cast a spell, if you don't have enough mind points to pay for its total cost, you may choose to spend twice as many hit points instead. You cannot use the skill if doing so would reduce you to 0 hit points. If a spell cast this way would cost you to recover hit points, you instead recover no hit points. The spell functions normally on any other target. Okay. So this is the first time, I mean, other than, I guess, the Dark Blade, who can kind of sacrifice a little bit of life for stuff. But this is the first one that I've seen, other than that, where there's an option to kind of sacrifice hit points in exchange for some level of power. And it's interesting watching it happen with the Spiritist / healer, but it is flavorful. It makes sense that that is something that they would be able to do. I do dig it. You know what? We have a few minutes. Let's go over the Spiritist spells real quick. Aura, protect your soul outside your body, direct your surrounding target, shielding you from dangerous magic until the spell ends. Each target may treat their magic defense as being equal to 12 against any effects that targeted. Nice. So basically just increase magic defense. Awaken, cost 20 MP. You allow a creature to focus their vital energy into accomplishing what they previously could not. Choose one attribute until the spell... Okay, so basically it's a basic buff. Seems expensive for a basic buff, but it is a basic buff for an entire scene, not for a single roll. So maybe 20 points is actually good. Barrier, project your soul outside, even the barriers. Okay, so just like Aura is magic defense, Barrier is physical defense. Cleanse, you strengthen and purify the soul energy coursing your companions. Each target recovers from all status effects. 5 per target. That is cheap. You can cleanse up to 3 at a time, so you could cleanse your entire party for 15 MP. That's cheap as hell. It's all status effects, not one. That is good. You pick up cleanse. If you're doing a spiritist, pick up spiritual magic and pick up cleanse. That said, unlike, I think, which one did we see that had, well, no, Chimerist will give you a level 1, give you 1 plus 2, so 3 total. Here, Spiritual Magic, each level only gives you 1 spell, you know, which is limiting, but all these spells are very expensive, are very powerful, actually. But, like, I feel like if you're only picking 1 level of Spiritual Magic, so far, make it Cleanse, because that's cheap. And getting rid of people's status effects is super useful, I think. Alright, combat spell Enrage. You cause a creature to lose any semblance of temper and act brazenly. The target suffers enraged, cannot perform the guard or spell actions during their turn. Hallucination, also a combat spell. You alter the sense of your enemies, causing them to experience bizarre frightening hallucinations. Choose days. Okay, so you're inflicting status effects, you're inflicting enrage, you're inflicting status effects rather than direct damage. Got it. Heal is probably the other default spell you're picking up. Spend a 2nd level on support magic or rather on spiritual magic and pick up heal. 10 points per target, 3 creatures. Invigorate your companions. Each target recovers 40 hit points. Increases 50 at level 20 and 60 at level 40. Yeah, that's a solid heal. Solid 40 hit points of heal. Hell, my character has 35. That definitely will heal them up. So that's a good basic. So like, if you only take cleanse and heal, you're already the MVP of the party, honestly. Lux is an attack. Okay, it's basically blinding soul rays. HR plus 15 light damage. Impressive. That's a lot of damage. And if you get an opportunity, they are dazed. Mercy, you strengthen the heart of a creature against suffering and despair until the spell ends. If the target will be reduced to 0, they are instead left standing with exactly 1 hit point. Once that happens, the spell ends. Useful. Cast it on your dark blade. Reinforce. So basically, protect targets from attacks that will corrupt, choose, Tyson, rage, poison, shake, and slow or weak. Until the spell ends, each target becomes immune to the chosen status effect. Okay, again, could be very useful in specific situations. If you're fighting, say, a giant spider that keeps trying to poison your group, Reinforce for 15 points. You can protect up to 3 of your party from making them immune for the rest of this scene, so presumably the rest of the combat, from that enemy's poison. That alone worth the price of admission. Well done. Soul Weapon for 10. You imbue a weapon with the cleansing energy of your spirit. So basically transform the weapon's damage type into light. If you have that weapon equipped, you get a free attack. So basically kind of a smite at the same time. Cool. And finally, Torpor. You smother the soul energy coursing through the bodies of your foes, hindering their movements. Choose slow. So basically, again, you're inflicting status effects. I like it. So you do have a couple of attacks. I mean, basically just Soul Weapon and Lux. This is very cleric-y, and I like it. I did not see anything here that upset me. I did not see anything here that did not make sense. Very classic healer and spiritist. Fan of that. I like that. I like all of that. Okay, folks, we've arrived at the Tinkerer, and I would love to spend time with Tinkerer right now, but I do need to wrap up. It's been 4 hours. I've been yelling. My voice needs a break. So, folks, let me just go ahead and switch the scene to here, because thank you so much for for hanging out, but it's time for me to call it a night. Again, just quick heads up for everybody. Let's go ahead and do the end of stream things again. If you didn't know, I am part of Fabula, Fabula.com. It's on the chat right now. Or at least it should be. Is it not? There it is. Fabula, the biggest little actual play podcast that nobody's ever really heard of. I've been there for over like 15 years now. It's good shit. Go listen to it. Also, these are my socials. If you haven't followed me on them yet, please do, as that is where I say and announce when and if I'm streaming regularly. It's the best way to know what I'm up to. And also, occasionally, I post about my cat. Who doesn't love that? I could link some other things, but I'm not linking them yet. But eventually, I'm going to link to my Start Playing Games profile because I do want to run games for people, and I am willing to take your money to make that happen. So we'll get to that later. But otherwise, folks, thanks so much for hanging out. I had a good one, as always. Like, honestly, going through Fabula Ultima has been a blast. I'm really loving the game so far. I'm really loving the interactions. I love the people on chat. Everybody's excited. Good. I love that. I love all the love for Fabula Ultima that we've seen on the stream, and I'm excited to do more with it. So hopefully we'll do more of that next week, because alas, this is the last sort of normal stream for this week due to my conflicting schedule. So tomorrow, this is so weird. It seems like it's following me, and I think it's just a side effect of this being a DSLR and the fact that it keeps trying to, like, it's maintaining focus and stuff, because I don't have any actual tracking on me, and in fact I'm not even touching the table. It's not moving, it's just the camera, but it's so little, it's weird. Anyway, I keep easily distracted. That's me. Anyway, folks, thanks so much for hanging out. I do have to wrap up. Phoenix, thank you so much as always for hanging out. Expect to see some updates on the editing work we're doing tonight, because, like I said, tonight there will be no video game stream. I'm gonna, do dinner in a little while and going to. We're finishing. I know. It's time to feed you. I'm just wrapping up now. I talk to my cat like she's people. Anyway, folks, thanks so much for hanging out. I'm wrapping up the stream. I'm bad at saying goodbyes, and so I won't. I'll simply say until later. I will not be streaming tomorrow. Quick reminder, no streams tomorrow. Don't expect to see me. Follow me on the socials. Friday, we'll be back, 2 p.m. Eastern. We're going to work on my game. I'd love to have people there. I'm a big fan of getting feedback on the game that I'm working on. It's very early stages. Don't expect anything solid. Everything's up in the air. We're not married to anything, but it is fun. So we'll do that on Friday, and I hope to see you folks then. Until then, enjoy your evening, afternoon, or whatever it is. If you're at work, then I hope work treats you well and we get a chance to hang out again later. Thank you as always so much, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.